On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will continue to talk Obi-Wan Kenobi rumors, namely the latest one that teases a new adorable character appearing alongside an iconic one. They'll also riff on the latest tease from the Senate, who more or less has confirmed a Palpatine live-action TV appearance in 2022. If Kenobi and Pruneface aren't your bag, the duo will also talk about the newly revealed Tales of the Jedi anthology series and an update on the Jedi Fallen Order sequel. Crimson Reign number 4 will also be highlighted. Of course, the show will end with the fan segment featuring Question of the Week responses and the latest Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie!
Hey now, everybody! La 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 la! Ba 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 ba! One of these days, actually, I'm full of shit. None of these days, we're never going to have a smooth transition from the front bumper into the star of the show, at least on the live stream, because I can't do creative edits live like I get to do on the podcast-only version of the Star Wars Time Show. But that's why you guys love us, and some of you gals, right? It is the lunacy, the amateurism, borderline bootlegism. What do you mean sound doesn't work? Don't be fucking with our bootleg setup, okay? The sound's completely fine. Maybe. Last week was neat. There was like Nick, when Nick dropped off, he's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Fuck Brian Sipe. Fuck the Star Wars Time Show. I'm taking everyone's audio beds with me. So when I actually watch it, Nick, when you freeze, and it's like 40 seconds later, that's when the system's like, okay, we're going to stop letting Brian use Nick's audio bed and then mute him for everyone else. But hey, we figured it out. Nick is alive and well. He's here. He's on the clock, so there's a good chance he's going to drop off within the next 25 minutes or so. But that's
probably.
I recommend, at least to those that watch the live stream, by the way, 2:30 on Tuesdays on YouTube, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. You can catch the live stream. But if I were all you, I would start playing a game, like an over and under or a Nick Skype freeze bingo, and kind of see who wins each week. You know, place the bets early on. Is it going to be 25 minutes into it, 30 minutes into it? And then start taking wagers for above or below the bar. All right? We do not condone gambling, but we like when our fans have fun. So, Nick, it's just one of those weeks where the show falls on a bad Tuesday. Considering that we have landed in May, which I'm sure you probably haven't, since you're, anti-social networking, unless you're making money for yourself by making money for companies. But May, honestly, has turned into nonstop Star Wars, like double entendres with the days. I
remember that from Mark. Yeah, he was like, May 1st is this or whatever. He like for the last couple of years,
May 1st is like 5-0. It's the 501st day now. That's what they call it, the 501 day. May 2nd has something. May the 3rd has something. Obviously, the de facto Star Wars Day, although I know some people still consider May 25 as Star Wars Day, but really for the past decade, it feels like May the 4th has become the pop culture version of Star Wars Day. But the other one is all the sayings are crossed out and it's just Din and it says, this is the May. All right. So we got that one going on now. I believe we have one, or we had one in our Discord of, I think Scion posted it. It has all the various dates in May that are supposedly attached to Star Wars. But like I said, today's the 3rd. 3 is less than 4, which means all of the big shit coming out on May the 4th is not going to get covered today. All right? It sucks. I hate when this happens. What makes it so bad is that it's literally less than 24 hours away from the show day. You know what I mean? It's like, I could tolerate it better, Nick, if it was going to be on a Friday or a Saturday. It's like, okay, fine. We'll have a few days, then we can cover it. But it's literally less than 24 hours after we'll be done recording this probably dumb episode of the Star Wars Time Show. You know what I mean? It's just like, come on, Galaxy. Come on. Shine a light on us.
Unfortunate for us, but it's probably like we've probably either heard about a lot of the shit that's going to come out on May 4th already via leaks, which is highly likely to be the situation, or it's going to be like, I don't think that anything huge that we don't already know about is going to come out or is going to drop.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
I mean, Devin's in here demanding predictions, so I can get down with that. Why not? It'll be better than talking about the secrets of Dumbledore for a few minutes. So I think we do finally. I know last week we were running that rumor that you're going to get new Kenobi footage, and while you did get 15 seconds of footage, it wasn't new, and that's all we got. So I would not be surprised with something Kenobi, either a TV spot, maybe like a little, oh, hey, we all love each other type of sizzle deal, or maybe a proper trailer. But I don't know, man. To me, May the 4th, it's Hallmark. It's a Hallmark Star Wars holiday, which means it's mostly for retail, running sales, gouging Star Wars fans by making them think that they're getting a deal, even though the deal is just meant to make them spend more. And I fell prey to that today with Lego. They sent me the email. I'm like, oh, I'm VIP. I can get in early, May 1st to whatever. If I spend $160 on Lego sets I don't need, I get free Lego stuff that I don't need. So my consumer brain was like, yes. Did I hit the mark? No. Add another $60 Lego set, even though I really don't want it or need it. But yes, now I have the Lars Homestead Kitchen Dio set. That's what Star Wars Day is. It's like a pyramid scheme of retail marketing tricks. I mean, I'm guessing you don't work for any companies that give a fuck about Star Wars Day, or you'd probably be working overtime this week running promos on, buy one or buy 50, get half free deal, right? In the name of Star Wars Day.
Yeah, none of my clients care that much about Star Wars Day, unfortunately. I mean, if it is just a bunch of retail shit, it won't affect me because I'm not going to buy any of it, but that would be kind of disappointing. I would at least like to see some sort of Andor trailer or Andor teaser or Andor something.
I'm with you, man, but considering they moved Celebration back into May, I mean, Celebration's what, 3 weeks away?
Something like that. Yeah.
Are they gonna blow their collective load tomorrow and show the big stuff? I don't think so. I mean, that's why I honestly think we're in for Kenobi stuff because it's already been unveiled, and I don't. What do they have to say for Celebration? The motherfucking is debuting day 2, so it's not like they need to hold stuff. Look who it is. Welcome back. She's here. She missed last week because we had a guest, but she's here this week. What do you think? What do you think's going to happen for Star Wars Day tomorrow? Are we going to get a new Kenobi trailer, or is it just going to be new toys for us to buy?
I think get your first idea.
New Kenobi stuff?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you came in at the right time because Nick dropped off, so thank you for filling the void, young Padawan.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you later.
Okay, Darth Vader.
All right. He's back. Well, Trevor wins. He took the under at 50 minutes, so he won. he won by a mile. I mean, that was only about 13 minutes in. So, but he's back. Good thing little Charlie showed up.
50 minutes.
Yeah, you missed it. Charlie showed up to kind of fill the dead air while you were there. But she agreed with me that maybe you get some Kenobi stuff and some toys to buy. But I don't know, man. I'm like, what would they be willing to release on Star Wars Day that they don't feel would kind of step on the toes of the Star Wars Celebration panels?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, Kenobi can wait. Like, we've already had some stuff from Kenobi. Like, Kenobi comes out in 3 weeks as well. I mean, I would rather see some, if we only had to get one, I would rather see something of Andor. I mean, we just haven't had anything from that show that's supposedly going to release later this year in fucking almost a full year. Like, it's just... It
is weird, man. I mean, we didn't cover it, but I'm sure diehard fans have heard about, because every other fucking site did. I'm getting better at kind of picking and choosing stuff, and sorry if it's chasing more and more fans away. But, you know, there's this big thing, and I think Tone shared it, and this isn't against anyone sharing it with us. We do appreciate any lead you find, but just know that I'm a psycho, and I probably already know about it. But there's this thing like, oh, Andor is only 3 seasons now, cut from 5. I'm like, well, when the fuck was it ever revealed that it was 5 seasons?
Yeah, it was never revealed to be 5 seasons.
Yeah, that's called like clickbait. It's something that one of these days maybe I'll just dive head into. I saw a video title today from your friend Mike Zero that literally says, Pedro Pascal fired, Carl Urban being brought in to replace him. I mean, what?
This, yeah.
Like the balls on people, Nick, these days, and it's not. The sad thing is, it goes all the way up to the fucking highest parts of our government, but they have no fucking problem just throwing out lies left and right for clout, clicks, and an audience. It's disgusting. Yet humans, because of our stupid little brains, we eat the shit up. I guarantee you that Mike Zero video probably already has thousands of fucking views. How much you want to bet? Guaranteed, because of that title is so salacious. Pedro Pascal fired. Okay. Says who? Like, I mean, you do, Mike Zero? Come on. So, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Andor, is it real? We saw them shooting, but is it really a thing? We've got a logo, a 2 or 3 year old sizzle reel, and some set pics from last summer. So I'm with you, but do they not squat on that stuff for 3 more weeks for the people at Celebration? I don't know. Like, what do you think Lucasfilm's goal is on Star Wars Day? Is it to sell merchandise or to amp up their future releases?
I mean, it depends on what the proximity of Celebration is to Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
So if
that's what I'm saying.
If it's like this, they're probably not going to tell you anything. You're not going to get anything new that's interesting. You're going to have to wait until Celebration, because why would they drop something like an awesome trailer if they could drop it at Celebration, where you're going to have thousands of fans there? You're going to have people covering it like crazy, hype and everything like that. Yeah, there's no way that we get anything that's even. That's what I was kind of.
That's why I was kind of proposing. Like, I don't know. I mean, what are their analytics? What are they tracking? How are they making these decisions on when to release things? Because you can make the argument. Well, why release something at Celebration that maybe only 5,000 people are going to get to see behind closed doors, when you could release it on your platforms and every human in the world could see it? So I guess, what is their end goal with planned content hype releases? I don't know, but I do think, because Celebration is so close to May the 4th this year, that May the 4th is going to be relatively muted in terms of mega reveals and announcements.
Good thing about May the 4th is that it's literally a community fabricated holiday, so they don't even have to do anything to promote it.
They buy full into it, though. I bet if we went to StarWars.com right now, it's probably their lead banner, May the 4th, May the 4th. But to me, it's mostly like every other fucking holiday humans have created. It's to sell shit. That's what May the 4th is going to be. To sell stuff. Devin, that's why Devin's asking from the chat, wouldn't they want the trailer out a couple weeks before the show, though? That's why I give Kenobi the biggest shot of getting something released on Star Wars Day versus the other series. Considering they haven't even given us a release date for Andor, we have this supposed window of Q4 Disney fiscal. I see them saving that stuff for Celebration to have the big woohoo type of moment and reaction, just like they did for Tross and TLJ before it. So that's why I'm thinking Kenobi is the deal.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if there was a Kenobi trailer, but I feel like, I don't know. I mean, like, you could hold that because they're gonna have, like, the whole Celebration is gonna be such a hype around Kenobi. Who knows though? Who knows? But
I'm looking at it like this. If they're literally going to air the first 2 episodes on day 2 of Celebration, what does holding a trailer until May 26th get you?
Sell tickets.
This
like, what do they get? What do they get if they drop it tomorrow? Nothing. Like,
just
they don't
more
get
hype.
Shit. Like,
more hype.
Like, people will be like, "Oh, cool, Kenobi trailer," and if you don't put anything out and you put a teaser like Kenobi trailer coming Celebration, people will buy tickets.
I don't know, but why though? Celebration starts 26. Kenobi airs 24 hours later. Why do I need to go to Celebration and watch a trailer when I can watch the fucking show the next day? So
I don't know.
That's why I think if any property gets any footage on Star Wars Day, it's Kenobi. And this is the first Celebration where once tickets went on sale again, they actually had 4-day passes like a week or 2 after, which is, I don't know if that's still pandemic related things and the cautious people aren't ready to go back, or if there is a bit of a like, what are we even going to do with this Celebration? I mean, you guys don't talk about movies anymore. You show us all the show shit. We get all that on YouTube and your social media. So why are we here for Celebration? Because let's be real, Celebration popped up in the first place to celebrate the new movies coming out, starting with episode 1, 2, and 3. I missed 1, but I was at 2 and 3. And then when it went away, Celebration morphed. It was like, okay, Star Wars, is it dead? Is it not dead? George Lucas doesn't want to make anything. And I know they still had celebrations, but then they go around the world and they'd be more general. And then when the sequel trilogy came back, it went back to, okay, we'll have a celebration for the movie releases, starting with TFA, then TLJ, then Tross. So I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me, and it helps it being in Anaheim, there's a little FOMO kicking in for Celebration. Just I do like to be there, but I don't like getting there, especially to Anaheim. I don't know. This Celebration in particular still doesn't have that jewel. Even the last one we went to, Nick, there was 2 jewels, almost 3 jewels. Tross reveal, we didn't even know the fucking name, let alone footage. Mando, we knew it was a thing, we didn't see anything of it, and Fallen Order. So Celebration 2019, that was a fucking ticket. Even 2017 was a ticket. You had TLJ, you had the news that Rebels was ending after season 4. So I don't know. Hey, are we just trying to shit on it because we're not going? I don't know.
After, I actually just don't want to go to this one. This seems like, unless they blow something out that's like super unexpected, like if Taika shows up and talks about his movie, or if there's stuff on Rogue Squadron, which they haven't made any mention of yet for Celebration, then it would be worth going to. But like, honestly, like, I don't like crowds. I don't like going to big ass concerts. So like stuff like Celebration and Comic-Con and stuff like that's already kind of like
I feel bad
to go to.
I honestly think all these years doing this podcast, I have finally rubbed a little bit too much off on Nick and have ruined him. He's slowly turning into an old curmudgeon just like me. And it's like the poor young Nick, he used to be, he liked going out to do this shit, covering game conventions and celebrations. And before we went live, he's like, I don't even like watching Marvel shows anymore. I don't give a shit about the MCU. I'm like, man, hey, I get it, buddy, but it seems like my outlook on life of pessimism may have rubbed off a bit too much on you here.
I mean, well, the Marvel shit is like the Marvel stuff is just the new stuff is just not that exciting to me. That's on TV right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll finish whatever it's called, Moon Knight, but I'm not going to go back and watch Hawkeye. I just didn't find that very entertaining.
Yeah, Nick, he hates Hawkeye so much he's getting a Death to Jeremy Renner t-shirt printed up as we speak. He does not like it.
Yeah, but this celebration, I mean, like
it is. It's definitely in my mind, at least on paper, it's one of the weakest in recent memory. Outside of the fact that it's the first time in 3 years Star Wars fans can gather en masse. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing it has going for it is everyone's going to be out again. Everyone's rolling the dice. It's probably going to be a mini super spreader, even though that's an oxymoron, but it's happening. If you listen to Stern, you heard what happened at the fish show at Madison Square Gardens. We still have COVID. It's still out there. Yes, a lot of us are kind of playing the lottery with it, but I think that's another reason it probably didn't have the kind of just the instant sellout that most celebrations get. I mean, I can tell you in the normal times, before the dark times, what was it, Nick? If you didn't get in like right at the beginning, you pretty much weren't getting a 4-day pass. I mean, the 4-day passes would sell out probably within 3 to 4 hours. The Jedi level VIPs would usually sell out in 30 minutes to an hour. But that's not the case. So, and hey, I'm not trying to shit on everyone's parade. I hope everyone that goes has a fucking fantastic time and they blow your socks off. But that panel schedule came out last week, and it's just like, all right, outside of like the filmmaking one, everything is pretty much an established franchise that we know enough about that it's just like, okay, give it to us now. It's the film wing that we still have just blanks on. I guess that's probably the allure, or would be the allure to me.
Yeah, I need some kind of movie stuff. Like the TV shows are great. I love the TV shows, but man, it's just like not the same. It's no, it's not the same if it's.
And this is why I never want theaters to die, because going to the movies, even if go by yourself like I do almost 95% of the time, it still is. It's an experience. It is different than sitting in your basement, even if you have nice screens. I mean, I have a 75-inch. I have Dolby Atmos. I have my own little movie theater, but it's not the fucking same as going to a movie theater. Seeing something on an IMAX, going to a Dolby Atmos theater setup. I mean, that is fucking intense. I mean, we took a little neighbor girl for the first time to a movie, and it was at the Dolby Atmos. She's never been there, and you should have saw her face when the movie started. She's like, my seat's moving. It feels like my back's rumbling. I'm like, yeah, this is called going to the motherfucking movies. All right, this is why we spend $13 or more to go watch a movie at the movies. So yeah, I mean, even Trevor's in here. He's saying in the live stream that there's hotel room reopenings. That never happens. So I mean, honestly, this may be a great celebration to go to because it may be a thinned herd.
Yeah, you're not going to have as much crowd. You might be able to see some of the booths and stuff a little bit easier.
You're not going to be fighting to get in the shit. I mean, it was revealed, Nick, they are doing the raffle system. So fingers crossed for our fans that are going. May the, what is it? What do they say in the Hunger Games?
May 4th.
Yeah, that thing.
May the odds be ever in your favor or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because that's a crapshoot. And if you don't get any, then have fun checking out the expo floor for 4 days in a row. But like I said, in the end, celebration, it's about hanging out with like-minded individuals and then getting fucked up at one point in time during the day and seeing how fucked up you are the next day and how miserable you're going to be during the Mandalorian panel. That was my adventure at the last one because Nick took me out Saturday night. We went to like some comedy thing in Chicago. They kept feeding me IPAs, even though I said, no, give me water. And you're like, oh yeah, we'll just keep giving them IPAs. And before I know I'm like walking up and down city streets in Chicago looking for fucking deli meat to eat. Going back and forth on trains because some asshole on our party was leaving shit at the club. And then I wake up the next day in my bed, clothed, have a quick throw up. And then I think Nick and the intern are ringing me like, hey, man, it's time to go. We got to go to the Mando thing. I was like, great. I'm sitting in a cab. Literally, that cab ride over, I'll never forget it because I was just sitting in there like, please don't let me fucking puke in the cab. Like, I had that strong urge to vomit. And we're in a cab at Celebration in Chicago with traffic, people walking all over the place. It's fucking snowing in like April. Yeah. Whew. But I made it through, got through the Mandalorian conference or panel, which was excellent. And I lived to tell the tale. So, yeah, that's another good point. If I was living in California, it would also be like, yeah, I'll roll down there. Why not? But for someone that lives in the Midwest to get to Anaheim, it just, even back before the pandemic, I was looking at this one with kind of a shitty face, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about the trek to Anaheim. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. So,
yeah, Anaheim's just like California is an expensive place to stay too.
Yeah, so, fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I mean, at least, hey, if anything, if you're traveling from a shitty state, like a red state that doesn't believe in legal drugs, that's probably the one upside to this being in California. You can just roll into a dispensary, get yourself some Scooby snacks, some edibles. I'd recommend some edibles. Really enjoy the show floor, some of the panels, take the edge off a little bit, or to have them for a hangover cure. Okay, there's a lot to be said about waking up and having a little puff pass to help you get through a rough night. All right. Only the classiest of celebration advice on the Star Wars Time Show. So yeah, I mean, those are our bullshit predictions. I think tomorrow is mostly reveals that are related to capitalism and spending money and like a Kenobi deal. I wouldn't mind if we got dates. Like I could see them revealing dates for Andor, dates for Bad Batch, stuff like that. But I don't know. I just don't see them having a Star Wars news bukkake on this May the 4th. I think they're saving that little affair for Celebration.
Yeah.
But have fun. We know, I mean, Bat's going to be there, 1/6, Nova, a.k.a. Black Series Clips, the props and the Scoundrel Team Cameo, they're going to be out there probably living it up. That's who I would go find. If you're out there, look for fucking Devin and Justin. Like, that's who I'd be hanging out with because they're connected. Like, I don't know if they're in, like, the mob or something, but those dudes are connected. I may be creeping, but I'm on social media, right? We got to do our job on @StarWarsTimeShow IG. I got to find the art. And I do see a lot of times they're eating fucking steaks, staying at the beach, driving Teslas, going to Disney. I mean, they're Nick, they may be living a better life than you. You know what I mean?
Probably.
All right. Well, we'll get into our topics eventually. We're still in the bullshit hour here. Why not? I had something to bitch about. Do you like humans a little bit more than me, right? Although it sounds like you're starting to like them a lot less.
I just don't like crowds, but like people in general are okay, I guess. Like not now. I mean,
would you get weird? After... Like I'm getting a little weird because tonight the neighbor who I enjoy, like these aren't even humans I dislike. The neighbor who I enjoy, they are smoking some ribs, okay? And they invited a few of us over to come eat them. And you know how I am with eating and drinking and all that shit, right? I mean, it's weird, but it's the system that works for me. One of these days, you need to remind me. I need to display the picture of myself in my South Park boxers when I weighed 230. Because it's a jarring reminder to people that I got to do some work to not look like that all the time. Okay, so getting invited to do something with humans tonight, which should be a fun and delightful thing, has caused me nothing but anxiety today. Do you ever get like that, where like you get invited to do something and you know it is going to be fun, but you also know that it's going to fuck up your routine, which could ruin the fun, and then you just sit there and you're like, fuck. Or are you a normal person?
It's not like routine based for me. I just have social anxiety. So even if it's like going out with friends and I know it's going to be a good time, sometimes I will just cancel because I have an anxiety attack and I don't want to go.
Yeah,
but no, it's not because it's like it's going to ruin my routine.
Yeah, for me, it's routine based. Like if I go off, and I think this is part of the OCD. I mean, last week, this shows you how fucking nuts I am with certain things. I make a pizza every Monday, like out of some cauliflower crust, all this shit, fairly healthy pizza. I do everything. I cut up the veggies, put the sauce on, the cheese, cook it. I refuse to cut it because if I feel like my wife doesn't cut it, my life is going to end. Like something bad will happen, okay? Like that's real. I mean, it's a fucking problem. I'm not like so bad that I can't function, but I do have odd thoughts like that. So yeah, tonight, it should be fun. It should be entertaining. It should be damn good. But I'm like, well, I don't eat normal food on Tuesday. I don't want the temptation. So therefore, it's fucking with my head. And the same thing like Saturday coming up, one of the neighbors is having like a little kid party. And you're like, oh yeah, come over for a cookout. I'm like, a fucking cookout? Saturday's Chipotle night. Saturday's Chipotle night, God damn it. How could you infringe upon me with a cookout? And having fun and socializing. God damn it, it's Chipotle night on Saturday. So
we don't have that. We don't have like a set menu that we make every week. We don't have like this is the day that we go this place. We don't. Yeah, we just kind of mix it up.
You're not a predisposed tub of lard, right? I mean, dude, I have been conscious about my weight since 4th grade. Short and fat is not good, all right? It fucks people up. And I'm still fucked up. And I have to live a certain way or I'm going to end up like 230-pound Matt in South Park boxer shot. I'm doing it. Next show, if you got to remind me. I'll display it right here on the screen. I don't give a fuck. Because if anything, it'll show people like, holy shit, he really was a fat piece of shit. He must actually diet and exercise because what a tub of lard. So no, that's why I have these constructs, because if I did not, I would be a disaster. All right, like pushing me around in a wheelchair, my 600-pound life type of shit. I get those people. I get it. I just have the willpower to not end up needing a forklift to take me out of my fucking house. You know what I mean? All right. Sorry about that. Ran over. I'm just, I'm weird. I get, it's not as bad as you to where I'll like cancel out of stuff, but I will think about having to be around people instead of doing what I want to do. It's more of like what I want to do versus having to do stuff with other people. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. If it's not going according to the script in my mind, it's like, this isn't right. This isn't good. I need my schedule to play out so I can be ready to go on Monday and not want to jump off a cliff. So yay, happy times at the Star Wars Time Show. We're a bunch of mentally healthy, aging young men. All right? Or I'm no longer young. I'm over 40. So it's just young Nick and middle-aged, or am I moving into late age Matt at going on 42? Am I middle-aged Nick, or am I moving into my elderly years?
I think middle age is still encompassed in the 40s, right? I'm not sure though. I guess it depends on when you die, because you really don't know when the middle of your age is until you're already dead.
That's a good point.
So.
All right. I feel like we're putting people to sleep. So real quick, my little thing to share this week before we get into Star Wars is I caught up on all the big movies and finally was like, you know what? I've watched the two previous Fantastic Beasts films. I might as well go check this one out. And my goodness, is it bad? It is. I remember I saw the first one. I was like, you know what? Not bad. I can get behind this franchise, the prequel. I can dig it. Second one comes out. I'm going, uh-oh. I even remember reading when the second one came out, people were like, J.K. Rowling is falling into the George Lucas trap of making prequels. And at that time, I'm like, yeah, it's a good comparison. Now this one came out, and I actually think that person's an asshole for comparing the Star Wars prequels to the Harry Potter prequels, because the Harry Potter prequels, they take the cake for the worst, dumbest, poorly written bits of lore I've ever witnessed. And the Secrets of Dumbledore is like the cherry on top of just blah. Nick, I don't even know how to describe this movie to you. It's soulless, heartless, characterless. It feels like there was no driving force throughout the entire thing. It's like, what are we even watching here? It's almost like it was a direct continuation of the second one. So unless you watch that one and then went right into this one, a lot of the things that they're trying to make you care about just completely fail. It's just bad.
Yeah,
Johnny
I've
Depp being
heard
replaced
that.
or not, it's not good. Like, it's just not a good story. It's fucking terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to make any more of them either. I think this was supposed to be like a 5-movie, like series, and they've already announced that if this one performs poorly, which it is, they're not going to make it.
It has to be. I mean, I saw it last Thursday, which I think would have been its second week in theaters. I was one of 4 people in an IMAX theater, which probably seats over 100. So it's like good, and it should. I mean, everyone looks bad. Eddie Redmayne doesn't look good. Jude Law doesn't come off good. What's his name? Mads. What the fuck's his name?
Nicholson. Yeah.
He's all right, but it's like, who cares? Like, who gives a fuck about Grindelwald? I mean, who fucking cares? That my whole time, I'm just like, who fucking cares about any of this? Like, why am I sitting here? It's like, I might as well just go home and fucking sit in my basement. So I don't know if anyone had plans to see this, unless you're like me and you feel like, hey, you've invested in the other two, you might as well kind of see where this goes. I would even say at this point, you don't even need to figure that out. Just, I'm spoiling that mystery for you. Secrets of the Dumbledore, or The Secrets of Dumbledore, will do nothing for you with the Harry Potter prequels. They are 10 times worse than the Star Wars prequels. In fact, like I said, I think it's a crime to even compare the two at this point in time. While the Star Wars prequels were rough on a 19-year-old. You got to remember, a lot of you, I know Justin's probably getting ready to hammer on his keyboard like, yo, he's fucking making fun of prequels. I was damn near 20 years old when they came out. I wasn't a little kid like a lot of you. It took me a while to understand that that's why people were cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over the prequels. I get it. You were little people. You had mushy brains, and they were built for you. Good. If you're someone as an adult and you feel like the sequel trilogy wasn't up to par, try to correlate that to people like me that were adults watching the prequels, okay? Do you get that? Do you have that empathy yet? Have you developed that yet, my friends, that get so angry about Star Wars like me? I would never get angry about Star Wars at this point in time. I have grown immensely through this show, right, Nick? I mean, it's been at least a week or two since I've had my latest meltdown.
Yeah, I mean, it's very different from the beginning when the prequels were literally
every show.
You couldn't talk about them.
I mean, that's probably like the 500th time Nick sat down and was writing in his journal, reason 5,000 why I need to quit the Star Wars Time show. Well, it was another Friday night. Matt was drunk, and we somehow ended up having him rail on the prequels yet again. In particular, the same thing he says over and over about Revenge of the Sith. Someone please kill me, Nick. And then he went to bed. You know, I mean, that's kind of what I envision. I like the prequels too, because I was telling myself that I like them. It wasn't until the Clone Wars came full circle that I was able to fully appreciate what they are. And now I do kind of look at them as like these little little treats in all of Star Wars. I actually do like watching the prequels at least once or twice a year. So I can grow. Can you? Yeah. Can the rest of you grow? If I can do it, you can do it too. But you don't need to grow to the point where you go watch The Secrets of Dumbledore. It's fucking terrible.
There was just an announcement, Star Wars Celebration panel spotlight. They're going to have a Siege of Mandalore screening with Dave Filoni, Carrie Beck, and
that actually came out last week, Nick. So I need to send that to you so you can plan your coverage attack. But they did finally release every panel going down, and that's the one in particular I latched on like you just did there. I think in the Discord I was like, hey, anyone going? This is probably something I would want to sign up for, because that the Siege of Mandalore would be the final 4 episodes of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, 3, I think.
3, 10, 11, 12 with the red, where it changes to the red logo. Yeah, watching that in an auditorium with other Star Wars fans with the man. Come on. That's a highlight of this celebration. No doubt about it. That is one I would hope that I would win the lottery for, 100%. All right, dude, let's go ahead and get into our topics this week, at least our Star Wars topics this week, as we've been having a little bit of diarrhea of the mouth about non-Star Wars stuff. So this is, I guess we could classify this as a leak for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So for those of you that aren't into this, you may want to avoid it. But I would say that this isn't like a plot-destroying leak. It's more of a new character coming to the Star Wars franchise type of leak. I needed that big time. Even tasted like sausage. So, the gist of this is it sounds like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, Nick, is trying to capitalize on the whole Grogu craze by establishing its own new cute and adorable character. All right? Do I have your interest yet? Or are you like, fuck, just more things to sell at retail? Give me a break.
That, pretty much.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So here it is. What is this new character? Who is this new character? What may it be? Well, this comes from, I believe Making Star Wars initially broke this, but SWNN ran it as an exclusive. As a sidebar, I've really been enjoying following Making Star Wars' Twitter and how salty he has gotten over the past few weeks about other outlets jacking his shit and getting it posted on Reddit leaks because they've banned him, but they allow his content on there as long as it's scraped on another site. And he's getting, some of the tweets are choice saltiness. Like, oh, I guess it's an exclusive if you don't do any research and just write it as your own post. And he's right. I know he had this in a leak from weeks ago, but then SWNN ran it as an exclusive. And all I want to say, Nick, to someone like him is, welcome to our life, pal. This is what it's like to be irrelevant in the Star Wars fandom universe. Now you know what it feels like. Welcome to the party. It sucks, doesn't it? But this is it. This is what we live. We get zero credit for anything. I mean, at this point, Reddit leaks is only SWNN, the Illuminati, or Bespin Bulletin. That's it. Those are the only sites that get content on there. So I don't even care anymore. But anyways, I'm going to give this sort of credit as well to Making Star Wars as well as SWNN. They're reporting that this new character will indeed be a personal security droid for the young Princess Leia. And the droid is going to be similar to what was featured way back when in a Kathleen Kennedy produced production called Batteries Not Included. Now, Nick, being someone not born in the early 80s, did you ever see...
I haven't seen it.
It's actually pretty... No. I remember it being a pretty good little film, but it's about these little alien robots that show up and like start fucking with old people in an apartment complex. But apparently, Leia's little droid is going to be similar in build to that. It like hovers. It's almost like a drone that hovers around her to keep her protected. And as we know through some of the other leaks, it doesn't sound like this droid does a very good job. because one of the big things that is going to get Kenobi off of that Dust Bowl, as we've learned, and just be careful here to any of you not new listeners, he's going to be called off world to go rescue the young princess. Okay. And it's sounding now like Leia is going to be a fairly major player throughout the series, where I think early on we thought that, you know, she might just truly be a MacGuffin. It sounds like she may be buddies
for the ride.
Yeah, buddies with the robed one, with Mr. Hello there, for longer than we speculated, my friend. And she's going to have this droid with her. And apparently the droid's aim, again, is to, hey, it's here to protect Leia. But the end game is ultimately to try and capitalize on the adorableness quotient that Grogu, or Baby Yoda at the time, introduced in the first season of The Mandalorian. So what say you? Are you going to vomit when you see this little droid and throw shit at your screen and be like, boo, boo?
I mean, they did the same thing with Jedi Fallen Order with BD, right. And then even in whatever is called the Battlefront 2 campaign with Iden had
I'm glad you said that,
by her too,
because you're not wrong. As soon as I read this, I was like, you know what? This sounds just like the Seventh Sisters, like mini probe droid that she would have on her back, which was the same as Nick just said that Iden had in that game. And that's kind of what I'm envisioning for Leia's droid. You know, maybe it does kind of have a dock on like a backpack or whatnot, or maybe it does just truly always drone over her. But it does sound like it's going to be, you know, no different than an R2 or C-3PO, where it is a character that is going to be going on these journeys and possibly causing hijinks that's meant to make fans smile, maybe weep, but most importantly, open their wallets. Not just their hearts, Nick, their wallets.
I mean, they like the writers of this are pointing to like, oh, they're going to cutify it like they did with Grogu. But I mean, like, Star Wars always had that character. It was R2-D2. And then in the sequel trilogy, it was BB-8. Like, they always had a cute droid, or a droid that was like this feisty little, little go-getter that character, or that the fans would kind of attach to. So, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily the Grogu effect. It's just like Star Wars has always had that in one way, in one form or another. I mean, even with fucking Rebels, it was Chopper. Like with Rebels, instead of it being like the same personality as R2, he's kind of like a curmudgeon-y older guy. And, you know, so they always had that type of character there. So I don't know if this is like supposed to be the Groguification of Star Wars. It's just following the formula that they've had since fucking day one.
I mean, honestly, Nick, what it gets me excited for is a young Leia. I think there's a chance. I'm not telling everyone to go take this to the bank yet, but I think there's a chance, just based on what I've been skimming through, that young Leia could possibly steal the show. Like have some moments. You know she's going to be sassy as fuck, right? You know it. You know she's going to be a little boss. And she's probably already mixed up in forms of rebelling in the resistance pockets throughout the galaxy. So I have a feeling this little girl who, you know, supposedly is Vivian, what's her name? Vivian Blair from the Bird Box, or Bird, whatever the fuck that was. The things I've read, and I'm not going to go into them too in detail, because I do know more than Nick at this point, and we kind of agreed to keep things shelved after the first salvo of leaks. But I would not be surprised if Princess Leia, or young Princess Leia, ends up being one of the more talked about characters from the Kenobi trailer.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You can only like, I feel like with a character like Princess Leia, I don't know if you could have her in it for 2 episodes and then just be like, okay, well, we're kind of done with you. It was kind of the same thought process with adding Luke at the end of TFA. He was like, well, if we added him earlier, then he kind of takes over the movie.
Right.
And I feel like that's the same thing that's going to happen with Princess Leia here. Like, you can't just like put her in and then take her out, especially if she's not like, if she was like a baby and she couldn't talk or anything like that, then it would be different. Like, you could just save her, get out of there. but with somebody who has like an actual personality and is going to be interacting with Kenobi and is probably going to build some sort of little bond with Kenobi, it's going to be harder to just say like, okay, well, she was only in it for an episode and a half, and now we're ditching her. So
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The main focus is clearly Obi-Wan Kenobi and his fragile mental state, and then the adventure he goes on makes him realize he should have hope. There is reason to have hope again. Like that's the ultimate narrative we're going to see. We're going from depressed Kenobi to back in the world Kenobi, who starts to see, you know what? I gave up. I'm the idiot. I'm the one thinking doom and gloom. I'm the one that kind of put my saber away and detached from the Force. These other motherfuckers out there that don't even have wizard skills, they're fighting back. And that's got me excited. So now I'm ready to fight back too. But I think you're right. I could see Leia's sass in the state that Kenobi is in early on clashing, and her kind of being like, You're this Kenobi guy my dad used to talk about, you fucking loser. Like shit like that. Like that's, I kind of see her like, really? Almost like how she was on the Death Star when a farm boy and a smuggler and a walking carpet show up to rescue her. She's almost incredulous to the fact that this was her rescue party. She's like, you guys are going to get me off the fucking Death Star? No, I'll get us off the Death Star. Grabs the blaster and takes charge. That's who I think we're going to see. It's just going to be the Mighty Might version of the princess. So I don't know. I'm most excited for the Vader stuff and like the emotional aspects of this show. But the more I read about young Leia and her potential, I don't know. I think she is going to have some scenes that fans are going to latch on to. And I think I'm all for it. Fuck it. Let's do it. Luke had his time. Yeah. You know, Luke's adventure was the original trilogy. Let's let Leia have a little fun and a little development to see things that she went through as a young person that ultimately formed that strong 18, 19-year-old princess we met on the Tantive 4. So I'm surprisingly getting quite excited for a young Princess Leia. Because my friends, I don't think you're going to get a ton of young Luke. You'll probably get that scene we got in the trailer. You might get a few talking scenes like we talked about where he's in the market trying to finagle toys and knickknacks from his aunt and uncle. But I'd say once Kenobi leaves Tatooine, that's it for Luke. Outside of maybe at the end, you might get a final check-in moment as Kenobi realizes, like, all right, I know what I need to do now. Qui-Gon's with me. Let's get the fucking work. And that'll be it. Luke, I think, is going to be minimally featured in Kenobi, and I'm okay with that. Because like I said, if you really think about it, I know we say it's Anakin's 6 movies, but the back half of that, his son gets a pretty fucking heavy narrative focus. So I don't think young Luke, even as cool as that shot was of him essentially being his dad on a pod racer, I think that's going to be his moment. Maybe they pay off on the whole rumored T-16 Skyhopper toy tease, and we see him at the end kind of wishing it around in the garage as an homage to A New Hope. But I think this is going to be young Leia, Kenobi, Vader, and then Cameo Town. And I'm all for it. What else can you say about Kenobi, man? We've been hanging off its testicles for a year and a half at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, there's really not too much else to talk about with Kenobi. But I agree that I don't want a lot of focus on young Luke. It's just, he's been, like you said, he's been explored in depth in not only the original trilogy, but also the sequel trilogy. That's true. Even more. I mean, you get to see like his. That's a good point. You literally get to see his thing played out in full from. I mean, now we're gonna see from not infancy, but being a child until he died. Yeah. And I mean, really, Leia has always kind of played second fiddle to Luke. You could argue that the only movie where she doesn't is 5. Is ESB. So it is kind of like a due time that Leia gets something that's focused solely on her, or at least primarily on her over her brother at the very least. But I would hope that something like this would open up more possibilities for like seeing like a teenage Leia like coming up in the Senate and stuff like that.
Wouldn't you love to see her in the Imperial Senate in the Alderaan booth with old man Bail just fucking yelling at Palpatine and Masamita, who are, you know, sitting in that center tower still? I mean, you know, she'd be in there sassing it up, like waving her finger, bullshit. Or she's sitting there and just like doing stuff like that. When Palpatine's giving like his State of the Empire, she's sitting there making like fart noises or fuck you, you know, heckling, that type of stuff. I'm with you, man. I want more Leia, because you're right. That's a great point on the sequel trilogy. If you think about it, and you know, if they didn't fuck that up and kept it with one director, one writer, Luke was the whole goddamn plot of The Force Awakens. He's what the bad guys wanted and who the good guys wanted. So you're dead on. I mean, really, once Kenobi airs, from Kenobi all the way through The Last Jedi, Luke gets a heavy amount of time to showcase to the audience who he is as a character.
Yeah, and like you can blame Lucas for that to a certain degree, you know, because like he knew that both of these characters were related. He knew that both of these characters essentially had the same type of power and the same abilities within them, but he chose to essentially give Leia, I don't want to say a backseat role, but like make her the politician over the fighter. And what unfortunately came from that was that we just spent 40 plus years focusing on the fighter and almost no time focusing on the politician or the political leader or the rallier of the troops and stuff like that, who eventually becomes a general. Like Leia just kind of gets backseated for the entirety of
let's
the
break
Star
it down,
Wars
Nick.
franchise.
This might not be a popular opinion with those aggro males out there, but for 18, 19 years, what was Luke doing? He was fucking around with a thumb up his
on a
butt.
fucking farm.
Yeah, he had his thumb up his butt, playing with toys, bitching and moaning about wanting to do more with his life. By that time, Leia was in the fucking Senate. She was leading she was a leader in the rebellion. She was already stealing shit for Rebels when she was like 14 or 15. Yeah. We saw that in Star Wars Rebels. So she is quite it is funny. And I think that's what Kenobi is going to give us. It's going to show us how different the twins' lives were. I mean, Luke is literally in no man's land, living, sadly, like a poor person. Leia is a goddamn princess who probably has had everything given to her that she's ever wanted, but she still is driven to help the downtrodden, the marginalized, so on and so forth. I mean, we're going to see it in Kenobi. At probably 10 or 11 years old, she's a fucking activist. She is out there helping the resistance, helping those movements, possibly poking Obi-Wan like, hey, fuckhead, quit moping around on that planet and do something with those goddamn powers everyone told me about. So, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, and that's why when those bozos show up to save her on the Death Star, she's like, all right, give me the fucking gun. I'll get us out of this mess. Shoots the grate to the trash compactor room, gets them down there. I mean, she does kind of take charge. And guess what? The boys let her. They're like, fuck it. We're not messing with her. Even Han starts to talk shit. He's like, God damn, that princess is something else, huh kid? Like, shit. Yeah. I didn't sign up for this.
Immediate attraction right after she showed her grit. But yeah, I mean, like, I hope that we get a lot of focus on Leia. She deserves a lot of focus. She has way more story to tell than Luke does at this point. Luke is literally just sitting down and fucking playing with his ship, pretending to be on
Luke stumbles himself into an X-Wing, has his buddy shoot a lucky shot to have him sink the shot that blows up the Death Star, and he instantly becomes the face of the rebellion. It's fantastic. Leia worked her whole life for the rebellion. her farm boy brother shows up, like this hillbilly, gets in an X-Wing, manages to survive until the end because he's got Obi-Wan Kenobi juice with him. Just as he's about to get blasted by his father, his Slick Rick buddy shows up, shoots his dad in the ass, and then he makes a 1 in a million shot to blow up the Death Star, and he becomes the legend, the face of the rebellion. It's a man's world, but it's a man's world. Even in Star Wars, you gotta love it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much of your life you dedicated to the rebellion. If you're the one that blew up the fucking Death Star, even though you needed help from all your friends, you are the champ. All right, Luke for president. I mean, after the Battle of Yavin, Luke could have walked into Mon Mothma's office and be like, "Yo, I'm the fucking boss now," and they would have been like, "Yeah, sure, you blew that fucking thing up. Go for it, pal."
Yeah.
You're an emotional mess that just learned out you have superpowers, and your dad was killed by Darth Vader. By the way, he's actually your dad. But yeah, let's make you the boss. So that is funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild when you think about it that way. But yeah.
No, Bat, you're right. Bat is right. Kenobi helped Luke way more than he will ever have to help Leia. And like I said, I honestly think by the end of this Kenobi series, we'll all feel like Leia helped Kenobi more than he actually helped her.
Figure some stuff out. Yeah, like get his mind right.
I do. I think she's going to be, I mean, the other characters he meets that are rebelling are going to play a role too. Probably Kumal's character. Maybe O'Shea, since we don't know much about him. These people could definitely be helping him out. But I think Leia is going to be that voice in his head. You can do more. You can always do more. All right. So,
and then after that, he just chills out in the desert for another 9 years and doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's like, all right, hey, I got to go back to Jedi school. I'll see you guys in about another decade. Or if some fucking droids crash land on my planet, I guess we'll kind of speed things along. Yeah.
Maybe.
Because that's the other thing. You have to argue. I mean, when was Kenobi going to make his move with Luke? Really, think about it. When was he ever going to make his move? Was he going to wait till he was like fucking 30 or 40?
Oh, dude. I don't know if he, like, legitimately, if it hadn't have been for what happened with, the droids landing and everything like that, he probably would never have. He probably wouldn't have. Because he wouldn't have done it until something happened to Beru and Owen, because he felt that with that family, he was the safest. But now he knew that after he saw them dead, like, okay, now because even before then, even before they got to the hovel and saw it fucking burnt to a crisp and shit like that, like, he was like, oh yeah, you can come with me. You can come with me.
Like, fuck
then
you.
He was like, no, you really need to fucking do this now, because there's nobody else here for you.
Right.
Like, he wasn't going to fucking make a move. It was done.
Yeah, I mean, he
was going to sit there until he died.
It is funny when you think about it. It just shows you how hypocritical the Jedi were, especially during the prequel era. They were giving Anakin the business over him being 10 and wanting to get trained. Here you have Kenobi could have started molding young Luke from birth, and he ultimately waits till he's almost 20-ass years old. I mean, no wonder Luke had so many fucking emotional problems trying to learn the Force. It's like they couldn't get past what they set up. Their hubris, as Cranky Luke says in TLJ. I don't know. It is funny. It's like Luke was he was almost like a slow Skywalker. They had to kind of approach him with kid gloves, where Bail was like, holy shit, this one is just like her mom. She's a fucking Spitfire. Turn her loose. Get her into the young senator program on Alderaan. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Man, let's go.
She has a cool story that we should eventually find out about one day. But
May 27. It's not the Kenobi show. It's going to be the young Princess Leia show, and I'm all for it.
Do it.
All right, so sticking with Star Wars TV series.
That's all we got.
Once again, our boy, Mr. Do It, the Senate himself, Ian McDiarmid, is not even trying to hide the fact that his character of Emperor Palpatine is probably coming to the small screen near you in the year 2022. some would say I'm a lyricist. So, Nick and I, we talked about this weeks ago when we came across an article that he was interviewed for, because I guess he owns like a theater or something like that over in the UK. And it was reopening again, and they were interviewing him like, oh, hey, as a blah, 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 it's Star Wars. All right. And he's like, yeah, hey, well, let's just say that what they're doing now, there's definitely opportunities for my character to return based on the series they have running and the timelines they're in, because he would be alive. And that's when Nick and I are like, yeah, fuck. I mean, Kenobi makes perfect sense. Doesn't have to be big in it. It could be like an Empire Strikes Back moment where you just kind of get a check-in. Once Palpatine figures out that Kenobi's back and he knows that Vader knows Kenobi's back, he could definitely call him up on the holo and do his Palpatine thing and kind of get under Vader's skin and taunt him over the fact like, oh, Kenobi, who left you to die, is alive. What are you going to do about it, you pussy? Are you going to let him live? Look what he did to you. He weakened you and turned you into a shell of your former self. He's going to do the Palpatine thing. And I think that's a prime moment in Kenobi. Just a moment. That's all you need. We didn't really need the Emperor in the original trilogy, and it was just fine. So we don't need him in heavy doses in any of these 2022 series, which honestly would be Kenobi, Andor, or Bad Batch. But I don't think McDiarmid does the computer voices or the voice acting anymore.
He didn't do the voice for. Yeah, if he does, I mean, that would be nice if he does, because honestly, if there's one series that he could be most active in and out of these three, it would probably be in Bad Batch, because it's literally right after the formation of the Empire and the overthrow of the government, where you would want to see him a lot, see what the machinations are.
Dude, I'm with you. Like, it could get boring, but I know that's kind of why the prequels were a little rough for some people, because it pretty much was all politics, or at least Star Wars politics. But I'm with you, dude. I would love to see just a day in the life of Sheev Palpatine as the Emperor. Like, what are his meetings like that aren't with Vader? Because we know what his Vader meetings are like. They're very one-sided, and they're always meant to keep Vader fucking angry and humble when it comes to their power dynamic. Like, listen. Yeah, I want you pissed off and strong, but just know you can't fucking beat me ever. I am way more powerful than you. But I would like to see what was he saying to the senators that bought into his bullshit. What were him and Masamita and at that time Sly Moore? What were they planning? What were the plans for leaving the clones as occupying forces? I could actually get into a series that was you could call it Palpatine's Office. And it literally are just like meetings he takes throughout the day. Sometimes maybe he'll electrocute someone that he doesn't like. Other times, maybe he'll high five someone at the end of a meeting. But I could get into Palpatine's office and just kind of see what his day to day is. First up on the day,
it would be fun.
Piss off my apprentice. Check. All right, I did that. Now I'm going to move on to, I'm going to kill one of my advisors. All right, at noon, I'm going to execute a legion of Imperial guards. And then at 1 o'clock, I'm going to have my biscuit. Something like that. So
I think it would be fun, especially in the early days of the Empire. But I don't think that's what he's talking about, because the quote that Mr. McDiarmid says is, there's a certain show coming soon, set right around the time I may have considered to be very active. Whether or not you will see my physical body, I cannot comment on, but you will certainly feel my presence.
That's a confirmation, first and foremost. Like, that's not even a wiggle statement, right? I mean, he is saying Palpatine is in a certain show coming soon.
The only one that we know for sure is coming soon is Kenobi.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other show that is confirmed to be coming soon. Like Andor, we have assumptions, and we're like, okay, it could be around here.
It's this year, but is it soon? I don't know.
Even for Bad Batch season 2, we're still like, somewhere around here, right? Somewhere in this region.
So,
but not any confirmed time.
I mean, to me, it's Kenobi or Andor. Kenobi getting the very, 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 very heavy slant. I mean, it makes too much sense to get a holo chat, and it plays into what Ian's saying here. He can't confirm if we're going to see his physical body, but we're going to feel his presence. Well, how's that happen? It's either going to be through a force chat, which him and Vader have never done on screen, or it's going to be through a holo, which we have seen. So, and it is. I think the way he confirms it, he's like, you're going to feel my presence. And I think that is true, but we're not going to see him a lot. Hell, I think we might see him once for maybe 30 seconds, and that's it. It's just like the original trilogy. I can't help but think to that moment in Empire where Vader, sits down and is like, hey, dude, we need to talk about this Skywalker thing. And that's where Palpatine comes out. Like, yeah, the son of Skywalker can't become a fucking Jedi. And it's going to be a very similar conversation. Like, hey, fuckhead, this is a Jedi remnant that we can't have kicking around the galaxy again. This is bad news. Like, you either get him to go sit in his fucking cave again and do drugs, or take him out. Because if you don't, it's your fault. You're a pussy. You suck.
And your son probably becomes a fucking Jedi. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's probably like what I would like to see, honestly, is like you will certainly feel my presence felt. I would want it to be something that's more on a grand scale. Like the thing that happened when in Fortnite, where he made like a literal galaxy-wide declaration of his resurgence into the living world, I guess you would say. Like if he had something like that, you remember like all of the holos that we were seeing of Admiral Rampart in.
Yeah, dude, I was going to say, if you didn't hit that, it's like, it should be, I think you're going for what we saw in Bad Batch.
Exactly.
Where all around the galaxy, like Nick said, Rampart was a holo in the town square giving a speech, and I'm with you there too. I think that would be a great Palpatine moment to just, maybe it's on Dayu when Kenobi's there in this rescue attempt, and it's just playing in the city streets like it's a Palpatine speech, and we see him that way. I'm with you. I would take that infusion too.
You know, it would be awesome. Something like super underhanded, like the capture of Princess Leia, a senator's daughter, is a pretty fucking big deal. Like, and even he would be aware of it. Even if he wasn't involved, I mean, of course we know he is, but like, even if he wasn't involved, he would be aware of it, because you have a high-ranking senator whose daughter was just kidnapped by some nefarious force. This is going to weigh heavily on the entire Senate, not just this one person. So it would be super underhanded of him if he put out a galaxy-wide holo declaration of like, hey, bolo out. These are the people that we think stole.
Oh yeah, like pretending he's a good guy. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no, that's another good
like,
call.
Turn that tide, like.
And that's something. That's exactly something he would do. It would be akin to his speech to the Senate right after Order 66. Where he's like, "Oh, look what the Jedi did to me. They left me scarred." He's really hamming it up, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, let's make you the Grand Wizard. All right, we're no longer a republic. Now we're an empire. It sounds great." Woohoo! Yeah, he really hams it up for the holos. That's another vintage Sheev move. So I would be down for that as well. And Kenobi, that would be fantastic because he's so good. I mean, he is the master at pulling the wool over trillions of people's eyes. Oh, yeah. I mean, he duped an entire fucking galaxy. All right, we're not talking about a solar system. We're talking about a galaxy he fucking duped with superhero protectors. And he fucking fooled every one of them and got the whole galaxy to think that the superhero protectors were the assholes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what he does. He manipulates people into believing that what he is doing is right, and he gains power legitimately. I mean, for the most part, that's what he did to get where he is now. And now he's just like, but something like that, he would be entrenching himself. He would be ingratiating himself to the public. Like, look, he really cares that this, that Leia has been kidnapped, and that the pain the Organas are going through. Like, that would be the perfect
I love it,
underhanded.
Dude. That's a great pitch. I hope that comes to fruition, because you're spot on. I mean, that is something he would do, and he would do it to perfection. He really would. I mean, he would sell that his faux or fake sadness, his fake concern so well. So well, you could argue he could probably get a whole system to take up arms to go find Princess Leia. I mean, that's just, he's got that silver tongue. I do love that guy. I mean, I think one of the reasons I never latched onto him like a Vader or more recently like a Maul, at least on the dark side, is he does look like kind of a decrepit old turd. But if you think about his mental abilities and his ability for the long game and his patience, just he's untouchable as a villain.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what they did, as much as I hate how they brought him back in the sequel trilogy, I mean, he's essentially achieved more than any other supervillain in all of pop culture. He's achieved all of his goals. He really wasn't killed, right? I mean, he kept a version of the Empire going for damn near 40 years after his apparent passing. And if it wasn't for him getting cocky with his fake granddaughter, he would have won it all. I mean, he was almost the first super bad to win it all. And he did win it all. He got a couple big fucking wins. I mean, he took out the Jedi Order for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that he had it all for like a good
18, 20 years.
20 years or so. 20 years. He had it. Boom. Like he was the guy.
I mean, if you think about it, I know this is generalizing things because there's a lot more people involved, but it was the spawns of Skywalker that fucked everything up.
Yeah, that got him.
That was it. It was two kids, the boy and the girl. Yeah. They're the ones that finally figured out how to fuck up Palpatine. And sadly, because of the sequel trilogy, they really didn't even fuck him up that bad. I mean,
like they like a temporary stop is what they, they ended the immediate reign of terror.
Right.
But they did not account for a longer play.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that the New Republic was successful. I mean, but we're seeing it in the Mandoverse. I mean, things are still very kind of Wild West out in the further rims. They're really only patrolling around Tatooine to just make sure things don't go to complete piss. And then the New Republic gets completely annihilated by The Force Awakens. In one shot of Starkiller Base, the Hosnian system, which is where the New Republic sat, was wiped out. So the New Republic... completely. Which never really sounded like it fully caught on across the galaxy. I mean, you had a First Order rise in its shadow, for Christ's sake. So it's not like...
I mean, the First Order was like a part of their governmental system. Like it was like a political party at first. Like the First Order was legitimately a political party.
Hopefully, we're going to learn through the Mandoverse, through kind of rewriting history like we did with the prequels. We're probably going to learn, and we do know this because Palpatine tells us, that the First Order is really just a continuation of Palpatine's empire. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's it. It was the remnant, and they were doing all the shit in the shadows for all these decades, and then... if you watch Star Wars Resistance, you get a little more insights into why they decided it was finally time to start, kind of making themselves known and the power they've amassed known. And, they show themselves and instantly wipe out the New Republic in a snap of a fucking finger. So, like I said, Palpatine as a villain, while it might have seemed like he lost in Return of the Jedi, he really didn't, because you can't say that the good guys ultimately... succeeded in returning the galaxy into a democracy. They did it.
Yeah, exactly. Like they put a temporary stop to the plans of Palpatine.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, but like you would also have to imagine, like it would. Yeah. I mean, of course he would plan for something like that. Like, of course he would plan for like, hey, just in case, like, red alert, code red, whatever. Like if something really goes bad, don't worry. I still got shit fucking handled.
Operation Cinder. See, I liked it better then when it was still known that Palpatine was dead. Like I got that, like he had this plan. We saw it play out in Battlefront 2's campaign. I dug it. But then they, hey, whatever. It's nothing we can do now. Canon is canon. All right. As much as same thing with Revenge of the Sith, I would have liked Anakin's fall to have been given a little more care. in the sequel trilogy, I absolutely hate Palpatine coming back. It was a fucking cop-out, in my opinion.
Animation will eventually.
That in the Mandoverse,
fix
they'll probably band-aid it over, and my poor little wounded Star Wars fanboyism will be healed. But I'm telling you, I know a lot of you've got your problems with Johnson in 8, but I think 9 and the narrative choices made make Episode 9 the worst of the sequel trilogy. It just ruined a lot of stuff that I was interested in that was set up in 7 and 8. But oh well, can't change it now, my friend. No one's getting in a fucking time machine.
Past is the past.
It is what it is. You just
like
gotta live with
Kylo
it. So, all right. This was kind of a weird way to announce a new show coming to Disney Plus, Nick, because we've been hearing about this Tales of the Jedi stuff for months now. You know, is it going to be a live action? Is it going to be animation? Is it even real? Is it a leak? Is it a rumor? Is it bullshit? Well, Star Wars Celebration and its panel schedule last week kind of let the cat out of the bag on Star Wars Tales of the Jedi because it was listed on the schedule and it detailed exactly what it was. So now we do know for sure that Star Wars Tales of the Jedi is a thing. It will be at Star Wars Celebration 22 as a panel, and it's confirmed to be an animated anthology of shorts. So it's...
I mean, just like Visions.
Correct. So it's not going to tell, there's not going to be characters that you follow throughout. It's just going to be snippets of different characters doing different things over the course of a season. And Nick, this is one area that, because I believe the Tales of the Jedi at this point, the existing ones, I think they're comic books, correct me if I'm wrong, but they would be in the legend category. And I only concern myself with canon. That is where my lore expertise comes from. But I know when I put this story out, there were a lot of fans like, fuck yeah, Tales of the Jedi. I hope they do this, or I hope they do this issue, or that one, or this story. So I think there's some legit hype behind this. I'm just kind of shamefully a bit out of the know.
I'm worried that this is like... I don't know if they plan on adapting any of the comic book storylines. I didn't read any of the comic books. Back then, I was more reading the novels and stuff. But it would not surprise me if they didn't choose to adapt the old
just go
comics.
New with some of the newer characters.
Yeah, or they maybe they'll pay homage to some of that stuff, but that it's not going to be like they're not just going to say like, okay, we're going to make episode 9 now, then we're going to make episode 10 and or issue 10 and stuff like that. Like, they're not going to go straight down the line and like make the show based off of that. That's just not how it's going to happen.
Well, no, I mean, an anthology, they're probably all going to be standalone. You're right. It is going to be a Visions, but more true to Star Wars and not the manga-fied or anime-fied version of Star Wars. Yeah.
And I wonder if like this is going to be considered like canon.
I was just going to ask you, do you like? Well, here's the other caveat that you probably don't know about. Guess who is going to be at the panel?
Well, Filoni, I would assume Filoni's going to be there.
The fact that he's attached, I don't think he created it, but it is animation, so he probably has a say over it. He's also the CCO, right? The Chief Creative Officer. So
yep, he's the guy.
But the fact that he's coming out there with Amy Ratcliffe means it's probably important to him. And knowing the fan reaction to the Tales of the Jedi and what they used to be, I'm sure Dave brought what he usually brings to these projects and is going to make sure that everything is, if it is going to be canon, that everything is going to be correct. Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can see that. I wonder though if like Dave Filoni at this point is just like, I just like sitting in on these panels. Like I enjoy being there. So just add me to whatever I could be on.
I don't think you're far off. I think it's not even in terms of his panel participation. I think overall with a lot of these projects now, I mean, I know his name flashes up for Bad Batch, but he's kind of like the overlord where he's got people that run it for him now. He's just kind of there to come in with the stamp like Lucas used to and be like, all right, You know, you're worth it.
Yeah.
You're worth it. You
Good,
suck.
good,
Your life has no value. You die.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do have to wonder, especially with him branching out into the live action, really taking a heavy role with John in the Mandoverse, how much he directly gets involved in the animated projects these days.
Yeah, it can't be to the same degree as it was before.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Obviously, it can't be. He's just way too stretched thin.
Right.
But I feel like he may. I mean, maybe that is his job is just to like, hey, somebody else writes the scripts for the most part. I'll read them and I'll give them the GL stamp.
Yeah,
I'll give him the Lucas approved.
It is his
and then they can
wheelhouse.
move on.
I mean, animation is his wheelhouse. He's a born and bred and trained animator. That's how he got the damn job. So, I mean, he knows it like the back of his hand. So why wouldn't you want someone like that involved that has already kicked off at this point, directly kicked off and created Clone Wars and Rebels, two fantastic fucking Star Wars franchises, and also had a hand in Bad Batch, which I am a Star Wars fan that thinks Bad Batch was pretty damn good. I really enjoyed it. I love the time setting. I appreciate the characters, and I like what they're doing with it. And, you know, he's had a hand in all that. So, I mean, the guy... I guess what I'm trying to say, the fact that he's tied to Tales of the Jedi, should anyone that may be getting their butt puckered up, I would release the sphincter, okay?
Yeah.
Let a little, loosen it up a little bit. Kind of like when your doctor's about ready to give you that prostate exam. Take a deep breath.
It will be okay.
And receive. Yeah. I'm thinking about that.
Is it already May 4th in fake Australia land?
You know what? I'm just happy to see Greggy boy pop up. You know, Greg was one of our first ever hardcore fans, like diehard fans. Yeah. And I know he's been going through some shit in his personal life, as all of us have been over these past 2 years. And, you know, we don't see him pop up as much. So it does bring a little smile to my face. We also got an update from one of our other huge Aussie diehard super fans, Darth Hideous. Yeah, he posted a video of him blowing his groin doing a 400-pound squat into the Discord. So,
ouch.
But I remember 2 years ago when we started the live stream during the peak of the pandemic, and like all the super fans at night would be DMing and having conversations, and it's just nice to see some of the regulars back, the diehards. So Greggy boy,
Greg, tell us what all the promos are. Tell us what's on sale so we can get prepared.
Yeah, are you getting the reveals yet? Have you? I know you're time traveling, ads? But I think, unfortunately for people like that, they're May the 4th.
They just have to wait.
Yeah, they probably don't get anything until it's almost time for them to go to bed. So
yeah, because it's 6 a.m. over there now.
Because
he's like, all right, May the 4th.
Knowing Lucasfilm, they're like, fuck everyone. We run on Pacific time, which almost no one does. So a lot of their reveals are going to be, around 1 o'clock Eastern time, or like normal people time. So we'll see.
Yeah,
but no,
if you got anything over there, Greggy, let us know.
This will definitely be a panel of interest. This is one that once it's done, hopefully young Nick will give us the bullet points for us to talk about the week after. But I'm looking forward to this one. I like animation in general. I love Dave Filoni, and I'm all about getting little one-offs on Jedi stories. Let's do it. Why not?
Yeah, I think it could be fun. I like the anthology style that they came up with for Visions, and I feel like that's an easy way to like pump out good short content that doesn't require like fucking huge deep dives or anything like that. Like you could sit down 10 minutes, get out an episode, and then just have fun with it.
I mean, because dude, Visions,
I'm all for it.
I mean, they were all 9 minutes or less, and every one, some were better than others, but they all told a complete story. There was a beginning, a middle, and an end. The only one I argue that probably could have had a part 2, and I hope it gets one in Visions season 2, is The Ninth Jedi. That's one that I watched, and I was like, these motherfuckers have a trilogy in them, like a full-on movie that they could use this short to springboard into, because it was so well done, establishing the characters and the kind of the state of the galaxy, and lightsabers were gone, and I was super intrigued by the Ninth Jedi. So we'll see. The panel for Tales of the Jedi is going to take place on Saturday, May 28, 2:30 to 3:30. Get your raffle entries in. If anyone is in the live stream, is the raffle open yet, or are they saving that for closer to the show? Let us know, and we will report back to those that listen on the podcast platforms. But in the meantime, my friend Nick had a little gaming story. There's another little gaming update. This is another one I think just shows our age as Star Wars fans and gamers overall. But there's a big hubbub today and probably more tomorrow on a lot of Star Wars shit showing up in Fortnite again. So if that gets your rocks off, you're going to get lightsabers in Fortnite and maybe a Kenobi skin, a Vader skin. Yay, I'm old. So there you go. But Nick has one for you on a game that I know a lot of you enjoyed. I did too. I just hated the fucking gameplay and I thought the lead character was milquetoast.
Yes. So we all know Matt's feelings, but hey, people bought it still. So, of course, Jedi Fallen Order 2 will be coming out. But the news on it is basically that, one, Jedi Fallen Order 2 is going to release in 2023. And two, it's not going to be called Jedi Fallen Order 2. It's going to be called Star Wars Jedi something else as a subtitle. And then it's going to be new console exclusive. So this all comes from Jeff Grubb at Giant Bomb. He also writes for GamesBeat. I think he's just one of those kind of like freelance journalists, video game journalists that gets around to a lot of different sites. But here's his quote. He said, "One of the reasons they're going to be able to do that, release on current gen, is because it's not because it's not coming out until 2023. This game is for sure not coming until 2023. I guess it's a slight disappointment, but I think we've been preparing people for that on the show. Anytime we talk about it, every time it comes up, I said, we're targeting 2022, but nobody should really get their hopes up for that. Well, now we can say for sure it's definitely 2023. So he has so he's, obviously talking about the release of the game there and why it will be exclusive to the new consoles, the current consoles, current as in PS5, Xbox Series X.
Isn't it funny? I mean, I know a lot of this has to do with Joe Biden. No, I mean, come on, people. It's chip shortages. I mean, you got to remember, when there's a global pandemic, it fucks everything up.
I say chip shortages were also a thing before he was even elected president.
I'm just, you know me, I'm being a fucking asshole. But
I know, but yeah, I mean, and here's the thing too,
dude. We're a year in. We're a year into this generation. People still can't get them easily, and it's crazy to think that we're talking about games coming out in 23 of finally being just for Series X and the 5. I mean, that's unheard of. 2 years after a console comes out, that they're still making games for old platforms.
And look, I know it sucks for people who don't have a new gen platform, but you're not missing out. Like, as of right now, there's really not anything on there that's worth having one for.
Barely any true next gen, right? Only, I think Ratchet and Clank was like one of the only PS5 true next gen titles so far. Even Horizon wasn't true next gen.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played that one yet, but yeah, I mean, I will say that just for the Ratchet and Clank side of it, I mean, it was awesome being a next gen only game. But I mean, from a developer standpoint, you have to cut the cord. Like, you can't continue to handicap your development of games based off of what's going to work on a console that's been out of not necessarily out of production, but that isn't the flagship console for almost 2 years at the time that this game's going to come out. Like, you can't continue to do that because all it's doing is inhibiting the progress and all of the innovation that you could have in the game because you're tying yourself to old hardware. So yeah, it sucks, but I will say that if you are desperate to get one, you can get one. Like, you can go on Walmart.com right now, get an Xbox Series X. It's going to cost you $600, but you can get one.
Because you got to do like the jerk off bundles to get them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I got mine. Was there was a bundle that came up on fucking GameStop, and it was like, it was an X amount. I can't remember how much it was. I think it was like a $750 bundle or something like that. And it came with the Xbox Series X. It came with 2 years 2 years of Game Pass Ultimate, and then something else. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get this, because if I don't get this, then I'm probably not gonna end up getting one at all. And I mean, there's ways out there for you to get it, but yeah, I mean, on the title side of it too, like moving away from the Xbox Series S and PS5 exclusivity, it will also be on PC. Though, for those of you out there who are like, well, I can't get this and I can't get that. Well, can you get your hands on a laptop that has a decent graphics card in it? Can you get your hands on a Steam Deck? Because more than likely it will be playable on a Steam Deck.
You remember when I pre-ordered Steam Deck?
Did you not get it yet?
I haven't even gotten the option to pay for it yet. So I don't know if that shit's just been like canceled or if they're that far behind.
I saw some people are starting to get it, but yeah,
it's crazy, man. I mean, it released like 3 months ago. I mean,
Valve is shit when it comes to hardware development.
It's unbelievable.
Like, they're terrible. Like, they are terrible. Like their Valve controller garbage. Nobody used it. They're fucking what was it? The Steam consoles that they tried to put out, Steam boxes, garbage. Nobody bought them. Like, this thing is finally something that people are excited for, and it's taken this fucking long.
And I've read some of the reviews for people that have them. They're like, it actually is a pretty fucking impressive little device, but it is odd. It's like, okay, well, when am I going to get the option to give you $600 or whatever it is? I mean, I've only laid down $5, so big deal if it gets if I don't follow through. And honestly, Nick, it's been enough time that I'm going, why did I do this again? Is this just one of those things where
you completely forget?
Yeah, I got caught
up
in
the
hype. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, this sounds cool. A portable gaming computer. I could bring it upstairs. And I've been reading now, like a lot of the games I'd even want to play on it, like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes or Empire at War, they won't even really work well. I'm going, well, why do I need this? I mean, I could just go, like Nick said, try to find another Xbox so I have one upstairs and I don't have to disconnect my one downstairs anymore and walk it upstairs. Like I'm at that level of lazy, by the way. Like it is getting to that point where now that it's nice out, I bought a new TV to bring out to the deck when it's nice, and I've been hauling out my old Xbox One, but that means I have to disconnect it from another TV. And it's like, you know what? I just need to buy another fucking console just for this room. So it's like, I'm going, do I need the Steam Deck if they even give me the opportunity to buy it? Or should I just hold on to that money and either waste it on toys or just grab a console? Because Nick, you know as well as I do, within the next year or so, it's gonna be the PS5 X or the Xbox Series X, Series Y. And it's like, oh wow, it's this much smaller and it does an ounce more processing. I gotta have it. So I might just wait until then.
Yeah, 3 years or so into a console generation, they'll come up with your upgraded versions. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's going to be it's not going to be titled Jedi Fallen Order 2 because it's going to follow the same format as the old Jedi Knight series, where it was Star Wars Jedi Knight something else. The series itself was Star Wars Jedi Knight, and then the subtitle is whatever the game is.
Outcast and then Academy
and then Academy. Yeah, and I don't think there was a third one. But yeah, so this is probably going to be Star Wars Jedi : whatever the fucking thing is.
Cal strikes back. Cal becomes interesting. Cal is no longer blah.
Something else. Something that is not Jedi Fallen Order.
I mean, am I an asshole? Do you like Cal Kestis? Did you find him to be an intriguing character?
I think when we were talking about this, I made the point that like in a game like this, like really anybody could have been your protagonist because the story wasn't about him. The story was about what he was looking for. You know, it was about
I guess you're kind of right.
Him.
I mean, they try to frame it. It's about him, but you're right. It's more about discovering what the galaxy is like now that Jedi are being hunted and keeping that holocron out of the Inquisitor's possession. So.
Exactly. So like anybody could have been the main character, like any of the surviving Jedi, I guess you could say. But it didn't even you could have had this game where you weren't even playing a Jedi and it wouldn't have changed the fucking storyline at all. Like you could have just been playing like a Jedi, like a person who's loyal to the old Republic, or a person who was loyal to the Jedi, who now has this quest to like, you can't let this fall in the wrong hands. And it would have played the same way if you would have just, just
yeah,
not a Jedi.
I'm kind of with you, because I mean, they did. I understand why he's a Jedi. I mean, the Inquisitors. You had Trilla, who was a fallen Jedi, like we're going to see with Reva, and then even who was the black ship captain? She was also a Jedi master at some point in time. So but you're right. It really didn't delve too much into it. It was more, we gotta not let the Inquisitors get this holocron, which lists all the location of Force sensitives. That was it. Like that was their goal. It was not so much to learn about themselves and who they are and where they're going, although that kind of happens. The main gist of Fallen Order was, we got to get the thing so they don't get the thing. The end.
So I don't know if they're gonna like expound on him as a character, or if it's gonna be another kind of plot-driven narrative where he's just the driver of it, and then you're more paying attention to the world and what's happening in the narrative than you are paying attention to Cal. Because if that's the case, I'm fine. Like, I don't care. Is he a particularly good main character? No, but I don't know if that's because they just didn't put any effort into like building his.
You're right. I mean, I love the guy. What's his name? Cameron Monahan, something like that. I think he's a great actor, and they're all in. I mean, the dude's, like I was telling you, the next time you're at Galaxy's Edge, you're going to have to snag his lightsaber because it just got added to the Pimp collection.
I saw that, but like, I just don't like his lightsaber.
It is kind of like, janky, like it's all busted a little bit, and
it's like busted and shit. And I'm like, I guess it's because it looks so different, but like, I do not want to own that saber. It just doesn't do it for me the same way that's like, kind
of been my point all along about Cal. It's like he's neither shitty or great, but he's so middle of the road milquetoast. You don't give a fuck. You're like, I'm Cal. Bleh. Cal. Bleh, bleh. But like I said, they're all in. I mean, the dude. I mean, he's as Star Wars canon as it gets. I guess another question for you: does Cal, like Canon, have to die before the timeline of the original trilogy?
No, I don't think so. I think that there are ways that he could just still be out there but not be included. I mean, here's the thing, is like, eventually we're either gonna have to get over the fact that like the original trilogy only shows 3 Jedi, and accept the fact that there were people who were alive and hiding and just not exposing themselves to the general public, like fucking, like Ahsoka, or like, anybody. Like, well, we know that Ezra was like off somewhere else. I guess
that's kind of my point. Ahsoka wasn't a Jedi, but clearly still had the abilities. But she got involved. Like, you would think Jedi, once they realize there's a movement, a rebellion happening based on who they are, who they were raised to be, wouldn't you think they would come to the call?
Yeah, and maybe we'll get a series. Like, maybe we'll get something. I know that people will think this is blasphemous, but like, maybe we'll get a series that is in the interplay between the movies, or between the original trilogy movies, where you can expound on that a little bit more. But like, we keep like, there's only a certain standard that we can hold the original trilogy to anymore, because it was written so long ago, and there's been so much more that comes out. Like, we can't, like, unless that's just what they want to do. They just want to force every Jedi character that is around pre-OT to just die.
I'm just looking at what they've done so far, and they very strategically have removed any powerful Force user from the OT timeline to where they have no effect on it. I mean, they kill Kanan, and they zap Ezra out into La La Land, which opens the door for Luke to become the guy. And Ahsoka, she's attached to the rebellion for some reason. George didn't feel like showing it during the 70s. Whatever. I can kind of get over that one, because they make up for it in Rebels and show how heavy she was involved and all this fun stuff. But it does feel like on purpose they've tried to clear the deck of at least pure Jedi. I guess that we can get away on the Ahsoka thing on a technicality of pure Jedi for Luke to kind of take center stage and become the legend.
I mean, like, honestly, I wouldn't be mad if like they rode him off into like some sort of like, I don't want to say sunset, but like let him have a life outside of what it was just to be a hidden Jedi. Like let him find somebody, settle down, have kids, and then like when he realizes that the rebellion's coming back, then he can make a choice. Like, do I want to get involved in this again? Like I was in this fight long before all this was happening, or if he wanted to just like stay low key. I mean, I wouldn't blame Jedi who are like,
you know what, dude?
Man, like
there's precedence already. You have a point. There is precedence already. What Jedi willfully sat out of conflict? A major Jedi.
Are we talking in the OT, not the OT timeline, right?
Skywalker saga.
So Luke literally
yes,
did
there
that.
you go. So I guess there is there is precedence, but to me it still seems like, going back to my initial point, at least pre-Luke becoming angry, it does seem like on purpose they've tried to keep his Jedi awakening kind of sequestered from the other Jedi that were milling around during his era.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of a, like if you're dedicating yourself to building content and building characters in and around this, like the OT timeline, then like it's probably doing a disservice to yourself if you're just like, well, we have to kill them. Like they have to die. Like it just,
I would be all right with Cal Kestis dying though. Like that, I still.
Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with that too. But like, even for other characters, like for other potential characters that you could have that could live through the OT timeline, but happen to be Force users or happen to be Jedi, like you could. I don't think that that's a mutually exclusive thing where like if you are a Jedi at this time period, you have to somehow die, whether it be fucking, getting drunk and walking in front of a speeder or having your head chopped off by an Inquisitor. Like I think that you could have room to be like, look, man, like there are some of them that just they didn't have the fight in them anymore, and like that's okay. Like it's okay to be like that.
Yeah, I mean, considering one of the Grand Wizards took that option, like I said, I guess we do have to account for it. Yeah, I mean, fuck, you could argue Yoda and Obi-Wan sat around and picked their asses for at least a decade or more before they decide, like, all right, these younger kids finally got their shit together. Now we'll get involved.
Yeah, and like here's the thing too. It's like Yoda and Obi-Wan like just willfully said like, well, we're kind of fucked and like we're just gonna like peace out and let it happen. But like they could have easily, like they knew a rebellion was already stewing. They knew that there was organization that was under the leadership of Padme Amidala and then the other senators at the time who were secretly running the rebellion. They could have easily gotten involved in that and said like, hey man, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to come out full guns blazing and like say like we're rebuilding the Jedi Order under the guise of our new leadership and all this stuff. Like they could have easily just helped them. They could have done anything, but they chose to do nothing.
Yeah. And to the point where one of them, Kenobi, we're gonna find 10 years into the Empire, is damn near ready to kill himself. Like that's how mentally fucked he is, because he sat on a backwater planet without even realizing what is happening in terms of resistance pockets popping up around the galaxies. I don't know. I like talking about just weird, what if stuff like this. I mean, hell, Cal Kestis is a prime candidate for a Kenobi cameo. I doubt we get it, but he could still be kicking around during the timeline of Kenobi. I forget how many years Fallen Order takes place after the fall of the Republic. It's definitely a few, because you have that he's working in that scrapyard and shit looks pretty rusted out and plentiful in terms of all the scrapped Republic war machines. You never know. Maybe Cameron just get a little pops up at the end there. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
My name is
I would
Toast.
I would like to see, if not him, I would like to see the shift in narrative around like Jedi who got away. Because we even saw, like, even in old canon games, fucking General Ram Koda from Force Unleashed was a Jedi that was like hiding out on a planet, just like
raising a kid. I mean, he was the one raising Starkiller before Vader showed up and took him.
Like just making his fucking way. And like that, I don't feel like you need to just say, by and large, every Jedi had to be killed by a certain time in the OT. So, but for those of you who are interested,
we're going to see that in Kenobi via Nari. We're going to see a Jedi that is wanting to get involved, but he runs into, Mr. Depression, who more or less says, go fuck yourself. And he ends up doing that and dies. So.
Yeah, it's fucking his head.
All right. Okay, well, there you go. Jedi, whatever the fuck, coming out in 2023 on the big boy and girl consoles or PC.
Or PC, yes, indeed. So that's all the stories for this week. Like you were saying, Matt, it was kind of light.
Well,
I don't know if you want to touch on anything else.
I got one little quick thing. There was a Crimson Reign update with some decent canon to add. We're still doing all right so far. But just real quick, Crimson Reign number 4 came out last week. You can check out the full breakdown on youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. A whopping 130 views or 29 going right now. But it was a pretty neat issue, and I'll just tell you the new canon shit here that may be of interest. So this one focused on the Knights of Ren, who we learned back in the beginning of Crimson Reign did fall in league with Kira and Crimson Dawn. And as we've seen throughout the run, she sends all these various factions to do certain shit for her endgame, which is to take out Palpatine and Vader. So the Knights of Ren, they got the lucky task of going to Fortress Vader to steal a Sith artifact. It's a key of some sort that apparently opens a vault that Palpatine and Vader are very interested in, but they don't know where the vault is. They only have the key. So guess who knows where the vault is? Kira. All right, so she sends these guys, the knights, to Mustafar. There's some interesting things. You hear how they talk about the Force. Nick, they call it the Shadow, and they're kind of creepy about it, but they can use the Force a bit. And they get into Castle Vader, and one of the first interesting things for a dork like me is you can see the snippet right now on the live stream. If not, just go watch the video on our YouTube channel. But they're walking through the underbelly of Fortress Vader, and they come into this room, Nick, that just is massive, and it's full of nothing but Bacta. And they're all going like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are they doing here? They have enough Bacta to heal an entire losing army. When we as fans, we know exactly why this is going on in Fortress Vader, and it's to keep the owner alive. I just
goes through a lot of Bacta.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's like he has a fucking Bacta factory in his basement. I mean, that's how big it was. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm a geek. I get into little stupid shit like this. I just thought that was kind of neat that Vader literally has a never-ending supply of Bacta constantly being manufactured right on site, which we're going to see him in the tank in Kenobi, but I doubt we get to see this room. But it's funny. They're just like, who the fuck needs this much Bacta? Well, a guy that is basically dead and has to sit in it every day or he will die. That's who needs it.
Yeah.
And the best part is
dire
one of the motherfuckers spits in a tank and something happens to him by the end. So that's the other bit of canon here, if I can kind of scrub to it real quickly. So they're in here. They're in Vader's castle. They think they're hot shit. They're walking around unimpeded. Vinay shows up, Vader's little creepy guy that lives there. And he's like, hey, you guys probably shouldn't be here. And they're like, hey, fuck you. What are you going to do? And of course he's protected, so they can't kill him. And then they send out these lava troopers, or they kind of look like purge troopers. And the Knights of Ren, they're an impressive outfit. I mean, they definitely make short work of the troopers. So they get into the vault, but then they realize like, where are the rest of these platoons? Shouldn't they still be coming at us? Well, as soon as they get out of the vault, they realize why that has stopped. And it's because he's home. Darth Vader, he comes home and finds these assholes in his castle trying to steal his Sith collectibles. And he has to put him in his place. So he starts with shit-talking Ren, the one that has a Sith lightsaber somehow. He's like, how dare you wield that blade? And, Ren's, he's a cocky motherfucker, and it seems like he's doing all right. But eventually Vader's like, yeah, whatever, and slices him up, and he falls out the window. But before he can do that, Vader manages to thin their ranks in pure Vader style by just not even knowing it, but maybe the Force told him. He force lifts and chokes to death the Knight of Ren that spit in his bacta tanks. So I was like, hell yeah, Vader. That's my man. That is vengeance. You think Robert Pattinson is vengeance? No, Darth Vader is vengeance. So yes, Darth Vader, now canon, did have a hand in thinning the ranks of the Knights of Ren. But unfortunately for him, they do end up getting away with the key, because as Ren gets sliced, he's like, I'm out of here, jumps out the window, uses the Force to break his fall, and then he uses the Force to pull the key back from Vader only after all the other Knights of Ren open fire on Vader. So he couldn't quite keep his focus on pulling the key from Ren. So they did get away with it. We'll see what happens in issue 5. But it was a good one. It's like I said, we're getting to the end of Crimson Reign, so a lot of the puzzle pieces are starting to fall in place, with this probably being one of the last. What is this key for? What does Kira know that's in this vault that she can use against Palpatine and Vader? So, but I love my man. People fuck with his home and they get dealt with. I saw one outlet said that Darth Vader got bested by the Knights of Ren, and I was like, the fuck comic were you reading? He killed one of them, would have killed their leader if he didn't fall out of a window, and would have got the key back if he didn't have 5 other knights shooting blasters at him at the same time while he was trying to use the Force to pull up the key. No one bests Vader besides Palpatine and his son. That's it. Period. End of story. All right, Nick. So,
all right.
What do you think? We got time for a little Mando trivia? Or you want to get right into the fan segment?
We'll do a 5-question Mando trivia. It's been a
couple weeks, like 3 weeks, I think, because I had the solo show, then we had a guest last week. So,
yeah.
All right, here we go. It is game show time. Will I fail or will I win? Nobody knows. Remember the rules here. Nick is going to ask the harder questions, which yield 2 points. If I want to ask for the options, it will go down to a single point value. So I can get up to 10 points, which to me is considered victory. Anything less is a loss.
Is failure.
That is
and
correct.
He will be punished by his master.
Right. And I may punch my balls.
All right, this one's pretty easy.
Okay,
so
warm up.
What 2-legged creature does Kuiil ride?
A blurg. Final answer.
Correct.
Yes!
Blurgs. 2 points.
Did you like how I added final answer just to make it official?
Final answer. Who gets swallowed by a crate dragon?
Din Djarin, a.k.a. the Mandalorian.
Correct. 4 out of the
I'm the smartest motherfucker in this world.
Okay, here we go. What color are Ahsoka Tano's eyes?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. I know what color they are in the cartoon, so I'm just going to have to run with that. They're blue.
Correct.
Yeah!
See, blue.
You can't shake me.
6 out of 6. All right. What was the purpose of putting the child on the seeing stone?
I mean,
you might need the. Go ahead. See if
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, and I don't give a fuck what they say. The purpose of putting him on the seeing stone was to see if he wanted to reach out to the Force to connect to another Force user.
Okay. So I will give you that as the correct
Damn
answer.
straight.
The correct answer is for Grogu to choose his path,
All right.
which is essentially what he
Okay, close enough. Winning.
Yes. So that's 8.
Here we go.
8 out of a
Last
possible
one
8.
for perfection.
Final question. When asked by Mayfeld, what does the Mandalorian claim the child is? Well, that's tough.
A pet.
Yes.
Yeah!
Correct.
Get some!
His pet.
Suck it, Mayfeld! All right, I love winning.
10 out of 10.
I love winning.
Perfect score.
Thank you.
Perfect score for
All
Matt.
right.
And that puts
What
us
do I win
almost
this
right
week?
at the 2.
What do I win this week?
This week you win the loving admiration and respect of all 9 people in the live stream chat.
So it's coming out of the who gives a fuck bag, right? That's what I won. I won another who gives a fuck.
That is your
The
victory.
Useless Talent Award winner yet again. Here I am. I am a champion at useless talents. All right, my friend.
A champion indeed.
Thank you. I always enjoy
All right.
that. Let's it's time for the fan segment.
Indeed it is.
Okay. So,
All right.
fan segment time. You know how we do it. You always get 2 methods of entry to be featured on an episode of the Star Wars Time Show. Up first, we're going to do the question of the week. And to get involved with that is every Tuesday morning on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show, look for the question to be posed in our stories and hopefully in our profiles if my dumbass remembers to put it there after the stories. You will reply to said question with your thoughts, and we will randomly select 5 commenters to then feature them on the show and either make fun of your thoughts, your grammar, or to agree with you. We will talk about the second way to get involved with the Star Wars Time Show shortly. All right, question of the week time. Let's go ahead and switch screens here. Bada bing, bada boom. Question of the week. I'm on that one in Slack. Let's click on this one. Okay, I just got to talk us through the process so everyone knows what we're doing. All right, so the question of the week is, do you think Palpatine shows up in the Kenobi or the Andor series or both, and why? I'll take the first one, Nick. I'll let you roll with the next ones here. So,
okay.
Up first comes from one of our lone story repliers. I look forward to it every Tuesday because I know for the most part he is going to be replying, and that is Rippic __tan. And his reply is, in Kenobi, I see Palps being Vader's kill Kenobi hype man. Oh, he lives still? You just gonna sit in your bacta tank and cry? Or you gonna murder that guy that turned you into this monster? Or he's gonna pull the old, I have foreseen it. For Andor, I would love to have a scene of him in the Imperial Senate just being super tyrannical.
Yeah.
And I like either one of those. I think we're in alignment, right, Nick, on the Kenobi predictions. I think it is going to be that minimal. But you and I were even talking about this before we went live. It would be neat to kind of see like the fake Senate that Palpatine has going on at this point in time. And I would just, and it kind of, bled in. We got on a weird tangent earlier in the show, if you tuned in late, about having a show called Palpatine's Office, where we just see like his meetings and what he would do throughout the day and how many people he would kill, or what sort of long game plans he was planning, or how he chose to fuck with Vader that particular day. But I don't know. There's something about seeing him back in that Senate chamber, pretending to actually care what the delegates are saying or wanting him to do as emperor.
Yeah, I mean, in Kenobi, in Kenobi, I think it's just as simple as he said. Andor, I actually want to see more of Palpatine in Andor than I would in Kenobi, because it's like around that time is such a pivotal point, because it's right before he's getting ready to dissolve the Senate.
Yeah.
So like just being able to see that would be.
Wait, no, you're right, because I mean, we're talking during the timeline of Andor, which is a few years before Rogue One, and with the potential to go back a little bit to see him as a kid. But I think the bulk of it is going to be maybe even around the Rebels timeline or a little bit before Rebels, something like that. So Nick's right, but it would be interesting to just see like the Banana Republic that Palpatine has going on, because that's what it is. It's just it's a bunch of horse shit. I mean,
it's just smoke and mirrors, and like he's got all these senators, probably at the time of Andor know that like it's all a sham. It doesn't matter.
And some of them have bought fully into it, just like in real life. I mean, come on. There's clearly senators in our government that they're just there to fucking get on Fox News and say dumb shit on Twitter so people give them likes.
Get that political pension and that 6-figure paycheck. So there's probably a bunch of fucking senators like Orn Free Ta, his fat ass. He's in leagues with their nonsense. I mean, the Trade Federation. I don't know. They may be upset that he ended up murdering Newt and a lot of them, or used them pretty hard to get the Empire. Yeah, they were essentially his pawns to get exactly what he wanted. If you think about it, I mean, he used and abused the Nemoidians and the Trade Federation. If I was in the Trade Federation, I'd be pretty fucking pissed. I'd be like, man, I hate that motherfucker. I mean, even worse, I know the head of the Techno Union, the Geonosians, they all kind of met their fate too, and the banking clan. But you got to think, I mean, even before the Clone Wars started, Palpatine was working Newt, working him like a puppet. I mean, his hand was so far up his ass, he got him to do anything he wanted. I mean, he got him to start a fucking war with a peaceful planet. It was beautiful. His own planet. Oh, yeah. How do we need a Palpatine Appreciation Day. That motherfucker's so evil, he staged a fake war on his own fucking planet to make him Supreme Chancellor. What a pimp. Yeah. I mean, that's just pure evil. That is a pure evil move for sure. Love that guy. Chaotic evil move. Jesus. All right. Good. Yeah. Good stuff. Next up is the Camebule. And he says, as long as it makes freaking sense to do so, I'm all for it. At least he's still alive. Heck, I wouldn't mind seeing Ahsoka and Thrawn too. Don't need them. I mean, that to me is like the whole Maul conundrum. That's too much. Too much. Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, if you wanted to tease Thrawn, then you could have him in Andor. I mean, you could have him in Andor. You could have him in Kenobi too, really. Yeah, you could. I just think that like you would know better than me. I mean, I'd assume at this point in those books, have they not established the exact year that he joins the Empire? He was a part of the Empire, but I'm just thinking of like when would have been the more interesting time to see him, because by the time Andor comes around, if we are in the Rebels timeline, you remember how big of a presence he was in Rebels. So like from Rebels, you already know him. And at that point, in Kenobi, he might still he was still doing cool shit, but I don't think that he was quite as high ranking as he was. I don't like it. I don't like Ahsoka or Thrawn in Kenobi. It's the Maul thing. I love the characters. Don't get me wrong. It's too much. We can't we can't have too many nice things. Is what I'm trying to say. I mean, getting Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker in the same scene, that was almost like too much. It was great, but it's almost too much. Almost too much. There we go. All right. Next up is at Johnny Osage Ave. We know Johnny. He's a good friend of the show. He says, I'm sure it's possible for Palpy to show up in both series with his space station under construction. It makes sense that everyone is doubling their efforts so they don't get choked. And I'm sure he'll also be interested in how's the old Jedi hunt going. So yeah, I mean, I guess Johnny would be down for it as long as it kind of fits thematically. I'm telling you, for Kenobi, it's got to be choice and short, just very basic, because Kenobi is about Kenobi and then Vader. That's it. That's the story. We're gonna love the cameos, but that's what they should be.
We're not talking like guest star roles, I guess is what I'm trying to get across. Cameos, okay. Guest stars, not okay.
Good. Yeah. No, I'm with you there. Galagus Rax Pix says, I'm pretty sure he's in one scene like in TS in Empire Strikes Back with Vader discussing the most recent events and maybe continuing his dark side teachings from Rots. This could be the perfect mirror scene to a potential Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan conversation about the light side. In Andor, I can only see him. I do like that juxtaposition with those two. Then he says, in Andor, I can only see him appear via HoloNet news, Nick. Maybe even disguised as nice old PT Palpatine as in Rebels, but my money is on Kenobi.
So Galgus, he's kind of tapped into a lot of things Nick and I were talking about today, like the HoloNet thing Nick brought up. I love that idea for Palpatine. I think that'd be great. But this new one here, Nick, that would be a great mirrored moment. And when we know Star Wars likes mirroring things, but at the end where we're assuming Vader probably is going to be a little roughed up again, and it would be a completely different tone too. It'd be Sheev or Palpatine berating Vader for failing again, where the flip side, it's probably going to be Qui-Gon and Kenobi almost congratulating each other, and Kenobi for regaining his sense of hope and purpose, and now having a very laser-focused mission on what he needs to do now to beat Vader. Because we've said it 1,000 times. Kenobi is going to be a shell of a man when we meet him, but after he goes through this journey and faces some adversity, but also realizes that he needs hope, and there's a reason to have hope because of what just regular citizens are doing, he's going to regain that Kenobi passion that we know he has deep down, and he knows, like, all right, I really can't beat Vader one-on-one. That's been proven multiple times now. But I now know how I can beat him, and that's going to be through learning this trick from Qui-Gon and, of course, the spawns of Skywalker.
Yeah, no, I like that angle. What's interesting is like we really haven't seen Palpatine ever give Vader proper dark side teachings.
No, he doesn't either, Nick. That a lot of people, just read the comics. His teachings are beatings. Like it starts with a B, not a T.
Yeah, so maybe not teachings as much as just more scorn and hate directed towards it.
I know. I mean, Sheev sold it great. In Revenge of the Sith, he's like, yeah, man, come on. Dark side, it's fun. I'll teach you some tricks. It's a good time. But, once Vader fails and becomes a shell of himself, all the niceties go away. It becomes nothing more than digging at him and pushing the buttons he knows very easily what to push, pushing them to the point where Vader is in a constant state of anger, which builds his aggression and his powers, and rinse and repeat. I mean, that is their relationship. Anytime Vader starts to feel like, hey, I can maybe take this guy on, Palpatine works him over. And that's still, like, I know we're still in this Vader run. It's many issues past that, but I can't help to go back to his lesson after Empire Strikes Back was to have his body systematically destroyed, legs ripped off, arms ripped off, head smashed, chest, suit essentially destroyed, dropped off on Mustafar right where Kenobi left him, and essentially said, hey, see what you can do. And by the way, I'm going to be sending assassins after you too, even though you're just
on the way.
You're literally a stump of flesh, and that's it. So, oh yeah, you are right. I mean, that's again why we want that Vader series, getting moments like that, seeing their dynamic, because Vader is a bitch. I love him, but he is a bitch. I mean, look how subservient he is to Palpatine from the get-go. He walks in the room ready to fucking kill him, and within 2 seconds, he's on his knee. Yes, my master. Anything, my master. I'll do whatever you want. And he remains that way all the way until Palpatine is murdering his fucking son. And then he's like, okay, I'm an asshole. I'm going to try to redeem myself a little bit. So, all right, sorry. It's Vader. I love Vader. All right, sorry, go.
Last one. The Arrow, Oliver Queen says, Kenobi as Palpatine urges Darth Vader to
Yep.
hunt and kill his old Jedi Master.
So-
I think that's the one that everybody's really expecting to see. Like, we're all expecting to see that, like, he's back, you know what you have to do kind of moment.
It's not even like he's got to push Vader. I mean, Vader is going to have that internal motivation. So I still think it's going to be more of the taunting motivation. Like, you got to do this, you can loser, that type of stuff. So
I would almost think that it would be more Palpatine to be like, you shouldn't do this because you can't defeat him. He's beaten you once.
Same thing. Like,
so don't even try. Like,
using the old reverse on him, the old reverse mind trick. Like, you can't do this. You blow. You can't do it. You're a loser. Trying to pump him up that way. And that, you are right. That would be a very Sith-like way to motivate your apprentice.
Yeah. It's like, look, you fucking suck. I watched this guy chop your legs off. I pulled you out of the fucking the lava pool that would have destroyed you. You can't beat this guy, so just step off.
I can tell you right now, as a parent, don't parent like Palpatine mentored Vader. It doesn't work, and it sticks with kids forever. Like, I've talked about before how I used to just be a freak when she'd get hurt, like falling over, running through the house, fall over. I'd run up and scream at her like she was an asshole. It's ingrained in her now. If she gets hurt, she immediately looks at me and flinches. Like, is he going to yell at me for getting hurt? Even though I'm fucking hurt, is he going to yell at me, or is he going to, like, take care of me? And it makes me feel like an absolute piece of shit. So that's my first big strike as a parent. Foolishly, I thought that, doing that when she was 1, 2, maybe 3, it might have gotten out of her system, but no, that's ingrained, and I feel ashamed for it. But oh well. That was my Palpatine parenting moment. Don't do it.
Yeah, you've learned. Do it. At least you've learned.
That's bad. I don't like that, but oh well, I got to live with it. All right, my friend. So that was the question of the week. Like I said, if you want to get involved, Tuesdays on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. Look for the prompt, drop a reply, and maybe we'll read it on the show. The next way to get featured during a Star Wars Time Show fan segment is if you're into any sort of Star Wars art. Anything. Toy photography is probably our biggest, but we do the real ass paints, tattoos we've featured before, cosplays, it doesn't matter. Let us know. Tag us. Use hashtag Star Wars Time Show. Then throughout the week, we'll feature shots. And on Mondays, Nick will sit down with his hot toddy and a stogie and skim through them all and knight the current top 5, which is who we're going to talk about right now. So this is the top 5 Star Wars Artists of the Week for the week running 4/25 to May 2. All right, Nick, who do we have first here?
First up, he's in the chat. He just said his hellos. This is at hgreen11 or 1313 the canceled Star Wars game that may never see the light of day. But what we have here from H Green is just a very clean, amazing shot of a scout trooper. He's in the field. He's doing some reconnaissance. You can see he has his little hip blaster drawn just in case he arouses the suspicion of those he's spying on. I don't know, man. I just thought that this was incredibly realistic. Like, everything from like the foliage, which is probably real, to just the way that he weathered this trooper and the way that it looks. I mean, it's just absolutely almost realistic to a high degree.
It's a fantastic, just natural shot. I know H Green is in here, Harold. I wonder if he brought out any lights or if he's just completely relying on nature's light. But that's what sells it for me. I mean, with scout troopers, that's their fucking name. They're out scouting. They should be kind of hiding and in the brush and making themselves appear minimally so they don't get spotted. And I do think this is the hot toy scout trooper. It's just a great frame shot. Love the natural light. Looks like there is a little splash of atmosphere behind them. So it reminds me of when I used to dabble in toy photography, just getting outside, maybe not even having a plan, just enjoying the weather, having your toys, got you got your shooter, throw them down, take some snaps, see what you get. Because in the end, when I do this hobby, that's my favorite part. It's not so much setting the shit up. I kind of hate that. That's probably why I don't do it as much as I used to. It is seeing what you captured after the fact and choosing the one shot to share. All right, so Harold says
the fruits of your labor.
Harold did. He brought out a panel light to catch on the visor, which I can see, and that is a nice touch. So kudos again at hgreen1313. One of these days, shots like this will motivate my ass to get back into my yard and just get back to basics. Come on, let's do it. I've got too many damn toys still lying around in drawers now being hidden. Like, Nick, I probably have, I don't know, maybe pushing a grand worth of figures that I can't even look at because I have them shoved in the drawers. So,
oh man,
got to do something. Got to shit or get off the pot, as they say.
Sell them.
Yes, I think I'm getting close to that as well. So thank you for pushing me to that ledge there.
I'm pushing you. I'm going to push you to make/save money, while the other folks in here are going to push you to spend that green.
Well,
and keep
then
the
I
addiction
probably
alive.
shouldn't tell you that I already revealed that I spent way more than I needed to for May the 4th at Lego, because it's like, hey, if you spend this much, you get a keychain. If you spend this much, you get another keychain. If you spend this much, you get a little set that's probably worth $20. And I completely fell into that trap.
That's upsells. That's
man. I mean,
your AOV
I
very
essentially, I wanted two things. I was forced to buy a third to kind of get the full tier, so I ended up walking out spending $225 when I probably only need to spend about $100.
Yep, that's
all for the allure of
on-site upsells.
Oh, I'm going to get something for free, even though I'm not. I'm just spending more to get something that they still have covered on their margins. They're not losing money, so
it works every time.
Oh boy,
works
I'm
every
a
time.
fucking sucker. All right, moving on.
All right, next up in the top 5
I love
is
this.
Our good buddy at SirDork730, Jared. He's in the chat. He's always supporting the Star Wars Time show. And I love to see a shot like this from Jared because it's a good old bro down, right?
Yeah.
You got two bros out there. You got Din, you got Boba. They're on the field, just destroyed a bunch of remnant stormtroopers, and they're just having a nice fist bump,
giving each other a little knuckle. It's
go.
like, I mean, dude, this is Sir Dork. I mean, if you have to summarize who Jared is in an image. And the art he creates, this is it right here. I even think he called it Man Bro-lorians. So I mean you're right with the bro tone, but it is. I mean, it kind of feels like something. If they weren't so outnumbered in the Book of Boba Fett, I could see them doing this after a battle, like walking away after kicking serious ass, just the two of them, not even looking at it. I think that's the best part. It's a no look fist bump. But they're also doing the Hollywood action movie trend of walking away from a major explosion without looking at it. Like, they're just so fucking cool that they murdered a bunch of troopers, blew some shit up, but they're such bosses. They can walk away just looking straight ahead into the camera, fist bumping, Miller time.
That's right. And I don't know if this is just my eyes or if it's just my perception, but like, Jared's bokeh is just different than everybody else's. Like, I don't know if it's the type of camera he uses or the type of equipment that he uses, the crackling balls or whatever, but his bokeh just looks, I don't know if it's just, it looks different than everybody else's. I don't know if it's cleaner. I don't know if it's like, if the bokeh itself is bigger or something. Like,
I know a few of his secrets because he is a sharer. He likes to share. I don't know what else he likes to share, but he does like to share his know-how with this hobby, which has served him well on his YouTube channel. And what he does, Nick, is he layers in a lot of shots into one. So this is probably, and Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, this is probably a combination of multiple explosions that he has layered into one. Or either painted them in from other shots, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it helps that he took it in low light. Having a darker backdrop if you're going to do explosions always helps because the contrast is there. I learned that early on. If I'm trying to do explosion shots in the sunlight and I don't have a darker background, a lot of times the explosion is going to be completely washed out by the white light. But you know, he's the master fucking blower upper is what he did. I mean, the guy uses a fucking blowtorch for toy photography. So, you know, he has the best balls out there. There's no doubt about it. He has some fine balls that explode on demand. All right.
Exactly. Beautiful stuff at Sir Dork 730 on the Instagram. Next up, we have an amazing Bad Batch shot here from at 97
100%.
parsecs photography, 97_parsecs_photography. And it's them just making quick work of some B1s out in the field. I don't know where they are. I was going to say Felucia, but Felucia, the plants are way bigger. But it's just them demolishing some B1s. And they each have their own style to it too. If you look at Wrecker, he's got them just picked up over his head, about to slam him down. You got Hunter's got the knife to the neck. You got Tech is like he's like looking at his watch and he's like doing something to like scramble the droid's brain or some shit like that. And then yeah, man, they all got their own flair to their kills, and I loved it. I love the individuality that each one of the Bad Batch has.
It's one of the best Bad Batch team shots, and I've been seeing a lot more team shots now because Echo is releasing to some people around the world. Without getting into it, Nick, Echo is another figure that, you know, some retailers say he's not coming out for another year, yet some people are getting him off the shelves. So who the fuck knows? But like I said, now that some people are getting him in the wild or overpaying, we are getting full Bad Batch shots, and they've been great. But this one from 97 Parsecs Photography is definitely the tits. It's, to me, man, they could almost use it for the banner on Disney Plus for the Bad Batch series. Like that could be their art, not for season 2 because Crosshair's still with them, but this could be official promo art, in my opinion. It's just great. I mean, look at these guys. How could people not love the Bad Batch? I fucking love these guys. I mean, I love how different they all are. They truly are different types of clones. I know our named clones all had their different personality, but they're still very similar. These individuals are all very distinctly different, and I love the hijinks that plays out on their missions every episode. You know, Wrecker's gonna say something silly, do something lug-headed. Hunter's gonna do something fatherly and leader-like. Tech is gonna do something brilliant. Echo's gonna hack something. You know, Crosshair's gonna be pissed off and brooding. They're just fun. Yeah. Plus, to me, in my opinion, they're some of the coolest fucking looking clones out there because of their kits. They're so different than the other clone kits.
Absolutely. Like their kits are amazing. Their personality quirks are, it's not just personality quirks. Their personality quirks turn into like their actual, you know, like the physical manifestation of what they are. And I mean, so yeah, I mean, they're the best. They're the best. And I think 97 did a fucking fantastic job of capturing not only their personality, but also their physicality in a shot like this. So
what's your awesome favorite one? Not necessarily personality, but armor wise to you, what's your favorite Bad Batch armor kit?
Mine is Crosshair. I really like Crosshair's
like
get
that
up.
Slit visor, and that's like his helmet's almost visor, like bowed out, like the mouthpiece seems like it's more
yeah. He's got like a very unique helmet shape. He's got the drop down like rangefinder.
Yeah.
I also like solid, like dark colored things, and his is like the darkest armor. He doesn't really have a lot of white on it because he's in the bush. He's trying to hide. He's trying to stay under wraps. So I really like Crosshair's kit. My second favorite one would probably be Wrecker, just because I love the face paint on the mask. The face paint on Wrecker's mask. Yeah,
he looks like sick, like a fucking hockey goalie or something, right? Like I do love that guy. I'm
fantastic stuff.
I'm right with you on Wrecker being number 2. My number 1 would be Echo. I think his kit's wild, especially that hand and all the attachments he can jam on there.
Yeah.
And the way his helmet, like he doesn't really have a back to his helmet because that's like his mechanical head now. I don't know if people remember that, but when he takes his helmet off, there's a section cut out to kind of fit over some of the shit that the Techno Union did to him. But yeah, I mean, just kick-ass shot. I mean, that's how you sell figures. Like the fact that Hasbro still just does shots on a black backdrop and they don't want to pay people like this is like, come on. I mean, look at that. You don't even collect figures, but I bet, if you had a little disposable income and you saw that shot at a store and all the figures were there, you'd be like, you know what? Yeah. These do look pretty fucking cool, So
yeah, I'll pick these up. Yeah, I mean, this is the perfect promotional image. So at 97 Parsecs Photography, put in an application at the Hasbro. See if they can get you a job, because you definitely got the chops.
I know they just recently hired an account called Shooting the Galaxy, I believe. But
we've featured.
Yeah,
them
I know,
before.
but I don't know if he's actually making product shots or if it's shot for like the box packaging. You know what I mean? Like take a shot of a set so you can see it on the box.
I know that it's generally something like that will just be listed as like marketing photography, and you'll do multiple different types of shoots. But I don't know how Hasbro does it, if they have like a specific like box art photographer, and then they have like a marketing, like digital marketing photographer or something like that, because some will flip it around. But yeah, no, that's awesome. But all right, 97 Parsecs Photography, killer shot. Next up is at Jason B. Michael,
my Padawan, who has definitely grown beyond me by
I was like, come far
by many parsecs.
Time under the tutelage.
We're talking like a billion parsecs at this point in time.
But I mean, Jason's a killer, and this shot that he has here is absolutely incredible crossover between the Alien franchise and the Star Wars franchise.
This was for Alien Day, by the way, which was what, 426, right? Is it 426 is Alien Day because of LV 426?
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that, but I think he did put this out on the 26th. Now that you mention it, and the shot itself is fucking sick. I mean, it is. Grogu and Din running through a cave that's surrounded by the facehugger eggs, and they all start opening and jumping out at them. You see Din blasting one in midair as it jumps towards him. One of them's latched on to his thigh pad. Others are either at his feet or jumping at his arms and stuff. And he's just got Grogu in his arms, fucking running as fast as he can to get out of there before they get impregnated by the face hugger aliens. I mean, like everything in this shot is just next level.
The guy
has hard to point out anything.
He's become a standout. I mean, he now is, he's getting shit sent to him. I think he's, gets to do product shots or early reveals, and he deserves every bit of it. I'm always going to have a special place in my toy photography heart for Jason B. Michael, because believe it or not, I mean, we're talking years at this point in time. When he first came on the scene, he actually reached out to me for advice. So think about that. Go look at Haywood Pop and the quality of work that even I do today, which isn't much better than what I did 5 years ago. And go look at Jason B. Michaels and see what he did with his opportunity to get into toy photography. It's amazing. I mean, I know I'm not making excuses or trying to explain why he's reached these levels. But I think he was a little further along in his family life, meaning like he didn't have a little kid. I had a little kid in 2016, right when this thing was starting to take off. And, while she was still a little mushy bag of meat, I kept doing it because as a dad, at least in my opinion, there's not much we can do except help out the wife. But once the kids started hitting 2.5, 3, it's like, all right, I have a responsibility. So I lost some of the time and sadly at this point some of the passion for the hobby, but not Jason. I mean, like I said, he got bit by the toy photography bug and hit it hard, and the fruits of his practicing and learning from other people that aren't called Haywood Pop. I mean, look what he's putting out now. It's very impressive.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic stuff, man. Like it's been awesome, like seeing his skills.
Yeah, it's just crazy
grow through the years.
That's what I'm getting at, Nick. I feel like this is one account we've literally seen go from a beginner to doing very basic shit to now doing pro level work in a span of 2 to 3 years. I mean, just this shot, I mean, yeah, it has some roots to The Mandalorian. You could argue that it's a play on the scene in season 2, episode 2 or whatever, where they're in that ice cave getting chased by spiders. But I mean, just go look at his page, and the ideas he comes up with are just fucking brilliant. And then the execution is a choice as well. So Jason B. Michael will always be one of my personal favorites and show favorites, no doubt about it.
There we go. All right. Last up for the top 5 this week is an excellent scene recreation shot from at 6-inch Figures, where we see the ESB crew in the cockpit of the Falcon. We see Han, Leia, 3PO, Chewie, all in there. This is probably right when they're getting ready to go into the fucking the asteroid field to avoid the oncoming chase of the Imperials on their back. Yeah, and you know, it's so clean, and so is this a digirama? Because I mean, like, the interior of the Falcon looks like pristine.
I think like, this is just a damn near perfect. What the hell are these called? Oh shit! Somebody composited shot.
Composite, okay.
Where they somehow figured out how to perfectly position the figures, probably on like a green screen or a black or white backdrop, and then composited that shot into this Falcon cockpit backdrop.
I mean, that's
I don't know.
Incredible, because
it's I'm with you, man. Like, it really truly looks like they're sitting at the console and it's a tangible set. But I really think that is digi. Like, all of it, I think, is a digital background, and they somehow composite those motherfuckers in there perfectly. Even lit them properly. Like, notice how Han and Leia kind of are being lit from the dash, like the dash lights there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to bring up. The lighting is like really, really excellent given the conditions inside of the Falcon, and like, I mean, 6-inch Figures did a fantastic job of matching the lighting. If that's how he did this, was via composite. And I think it is, because if you look at a lot of his other shots too, like, he does seem to do a lot of composite work, but this is, I mean, a cut above anything that he has on his account yet. So I mean, this is just some awesome work. So
yeah, I always like when you pick, you know, some of the up and comers or accounts that haven't made it before, because it hopefully it exposes to the larger community. I mean, every now and then, like, oh, you guys do so much for the community. It's like, hey, you all are doing the work. We're just highlighting it for people to see. We appreciate it. Thank you. But trust me, it gets us nothing in life. I mean, we're still shithead nobodies. But if we can convince a few of you that we're helping the community out, that's why we do what we do. I mean, to me, it's part of my routine now. I wake up, and once I get the kid off to school, I'm right on Instagram looking at the latest round of hashtag Star Wars Time Show photos, and there's never a shortage. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So that's the end of the top 5.
Woo woo!
With 6-inch Figures closing us out, and that's the end of the show. So, Matt, take us home. Let us know how we can stay up with all of the Star Wars Time Show news and updates.
Well, Nick, you can do that by going to StarWarsTime.net. That's right, StarWarsTime.net. No, I'm not fucking around, but yeah, StarWarsTime.net. That's our home on the internet, outside of our YouTube channel. We'd like you to go to both and subscribe to everything you can, because that is our lifeblood. We eat, sleep, breathe, and die with subscriptions. All right, we get no money for them, but it makes us feel like not losers. So do it. StarWarsTime.net. If you want to listen to the show on the podcast platform, do it. You should anyways, even if you listen to it on YouTube. That's my challenge to you all this week. If you're already subscribed to YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to at least 6 podcast platforms, and you leave at least 6 ratings and reviews. All right, maybe not 6, but you know the drill. It's all about those subs. I've actually seen some people that have known about the show for years and have been in top 5s, and they're just now realizing that subbing to the YouTube channel is a nice thing to do. We're not asking. This isn't like a, hey, we'll scratch your back, scratch ours type of shit. But if you do get some enjoyment out of the show and you do think we do something for the Star Wars artist community, the best way you can help us out and make us feel better about ourselves is through subbing on podcast platforms or on YouTube. And once you're subbed, try to interact with the content every once in a while. Watch one of the comic book breakdowns on YouTube. Leave a comment, like it, forward it to a friend. You never know what could happen in that friend's hands or eyes, because there's always time for Star Wars time, and we just want more people to know that. We may not be making you better individuals or Star Wars fans through the SWTS, but we are reminding you that there truly is always time for a little Star Wars time. And if you do listen to the Star Wars Time Show as an added bonus, free of charge, the Force will be with you. Always.